Hey Star, are you ready?
I'm a lady.
So let's song. Welcome to Idol Days, the show about idol anime. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Star.
And we are back with our boys, our Uda no Prince Sama Prince Song Boys. Season 4.
And God, there's so many of them.
There are so many of them. We are in season 4. This is Uda no Prince Sama Maji Love Legend Star.
They just keep tacking words on.
Yes, we are not in Revolution. We are in Legend Star right now.
They had their revolution, and now they are the legends.
They are
Stars.
the legends. Legend, is just like Star, right here.
Just like me. I'm legendary.
You are so legendary.
Wink. Is this the most recent season of this show, or is there more?
So it's complicated. This is the most recent one that's a season. Well, it's not that complicated. It's the most recent one that's a season. However, there were 2 movies that came out after. The most recent one, I think, came out last year, and I believe they're planning on more movies, if I remember correctly.
I've heard that at least one of the movies is literally just like a concert. There's not really any plot or anything.
That's what from my understanding, after Legend Star comes the concert movie, but then after the concert movie is a movie with plot, and the plot movie references the concert movie. So the concert movie, from what I understand, you have to watch it to understand the other movie. So when we get to the movies, there will probably be a short concert movie. I don't know if we want to combine it with the other one. We'll deal with that when we come to it, because the people aren't ready for it yet, because we have to get through season 4 first.
Yes, and can we address the elephant of the room, which is whatever time bomb you put in the chat for me specifically? Sarah sent me a message a few minutes before we started recording that was just like a couple of reference pictures, just because like there's so many goddamn boys. And they keep adding more boys. And I know that's the case of like any multi-season idol anime, but like, my God, there's so many of them. But yeah, so she sent me like a couple of reference pictures of the cast. She sent me like the video of the last concert so I could see it. And then she said, next thing is important, but you are not allowed to watch until I tell you. And it's a spoilered out thing. I don't know if it's a video or an image, but I am terrified of what that could be.
Well, you don't have to be that terrified, because it's not the wildest thing that happens in UtaPri. It really is just the best line that happens in all of UtaPri. So I just want you to experience this line on recorded audio so everyone else can hear your experience with you.
Incredible. Yeah, there's a second elephant in the room, but I think maybe we get to that elephant when we get to it, that our episode is coming out a little bit late because of just scheduling skerfuffles. And I asked, can you give me something to post on social media so I can let people know that the episode is going to be delayed? And you just said, just show them this picture of a banana and they will understand.
It's okay. It's involved with the clip. It's the same. It's all part of the same thing.
Because, like, full disclosure, I don't know what the fuck the banana thing is about.
You will understand very soon.
Everyone in the Discord was like, they already did an episode on Review Starlight.
We did. We did. And maybe this is just me, when I researched this season, maybe just certain people who posted about season 4 posted about this one specific clip a lot, because I saw it a lot. But it's not, like, the biggest thing that happens in this season by far. It's just memed on.
It's just, you're blowing it up so much.
Oh, it's not that exciting. I'm so sorry. I hope you don't get let down later.
Well,
but
I guess let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Warning for everyone who is, number 1, new to Idol Days, or number 2, new to our UtaPri episodes.
Do not listen to this one first.
You should go back and listen to our UtaPri episodes, especially in order. Because if you're new to Idol Days, we have a whole conspiracy theory going on, and it's complicated.
It's like we have just long enough between Uda no Prince Sama episodes for me to forget the conspiracy theory.
I love it.
I have to remember it all over again. It's like when you haven't played a video game in a while and you kind of forget the plot.
Oh, don't worry, Star. I re-listen to our episodes every time I do a new season just because I know there's so much shit that happens in our UtaPri episodes. So, quick summary for those of you who have listened and can connect the dots, because otherwise this will sound like complete nonsense to you. So,
which is, to be fair, most of our episodes.
Most of our episodes. And also for those of you who do listen to iDOL Days, know a little bit of our deep dive conspiracy theories, but haven't listened to UtaPri, I would still suggest you go back because there are so many boys.
So many boys.
But all that being said, previous seasons, we had decided that all of the UtaPri boys are the Love Live girls reincarnated because,
that's right.
Yes, because of the whole AKB thing. After in Love Live movie, they get raptured at the end. Really, this should not be your first episode of iDOL Days.
Go! Leave now! You've gotten a taste of what is to come. You have to go back.
You have to go back. So we determined that UtaPri are reincarnated Love Live Season 1 girls, because again, they get raptured. And then the other thing that we had mentioned, first episode, that Uda no Prince-sama and Original Idolmaster came out, made by the same studio in the same season. So there are 3 Chihayas. One is Chihaya, and 2 of the other Chihayas are in Starish. They're Toki and Masato. Because they're just sad singing boys.
Sad singing boys with blue hair.
With blue hair. And then also, this was I think it might have been our second episode or a third episode. There was a subunit introduced, or there was a group introduced called Heavens. They barely showed up in season 3. They're just at the end. Season 2, they're like the main rivals. And we discussed how all of the Heavens boys are the same as the Starish boys, but they're slightly evil and therefore are the Starish boys as nobodies. Just some summaries for all of you.
Literally, there's 7 of them.
Yes. They have the same image colors, corresponding.
I'm looking, they have corresponding image colors, but the Heavens boys look like comparatively so normal. There's one boy in here who looks like just the most normal fucking guy I have ever seen in my life. He looks so generic. He looks like he could be in like a fucking Japanese English textbook. And he's introducing himself as Mark from California or some shit. And I would be okay with it.
And he kind of is the most normal one, so you can appreciate that too.
Good. But like seriously, like at least like one of them looks like a fucking evil CEO.
Yeah,
another one has like asparagus hair.
Yeah,
and he looks like he just got out of a wind tunnel.
Yep.
There's one of them who is a vampire.
Yep.
Just by looking at him. And then this guy's like, "Hi, I'm Todd. I like to go to the mall."
Yep. And he kind of is the normal one. So there we go.
Amazing. And then there's one that's like small boy, generic small boy character.
Yep.
There he is.
There he is. Small boy. So,
and then there's one that has dark hair, and if he squints anymore, he will not have eyes. That's how you know he's a moody boy.
And
he's
also,
how grumpy can I look without being a total bitch?
And that's how you know that those are the rival group. They're the nobodies of Starish.
I believe it.
And then just like UtaPri stuff, for those of you who have either watched UtaPri, listened to our previous episodes, UtaPri itself starts out pretty freaking normal. Like season 1 is just straight up a Tomy game shit, except for the
halcyon days.
The halcyon days, except for the whole, there is a boy who is a cat. But you don't actually know he exists in season 1. He does manifest into reality in season 2. And that's when we get the whole, like, the muses, like the dance to worship the muses, and the fact that whenever there is a song or a PV, they go in this weird, like, space, like, floaty, starry place, which they do acknowledge. So thus implying that they actually physically go there because they discuss, like, oh, did we just do that? Did you see that weird dragon or that weird scary place? And they're like, yeah, that was weird. Okay, let's move on. So UtaPri itself, really freaking weird from season 2 on.
UtaPri's like, hey, shove that normal shit off the, like Cecil shows up. He's a cat. He just pushes all the normal shit off the desk. And he's like, fuck you, we're doing some weird shit now. Let's go.
Yeah, because, and again, we have our own weird conspiracy theory. This part that I'm saying right now, that is in canon and UtaPri lore. That is not me making stuff up. This is like,
listen, we make a lot of bullshit up, but some bullshit is actually canonical in the show.
Yep. Like, last season, there is a boy who's actually a robot. So,
beep boop.
Beep boop. Like, this is, UtaPri is weird, and we get weird about it, but it's allowed because UtaPri is weird. All right, Star. Shall we get into some of the so many boys?
God, have mercy on me, but yes.
Okay.
There's how many, like, 19 if I'm counting? So there's 7 in Stars, 7 in Heavens.
Mm-hmm.
Seventh Heaven.
Seventh Heaven.
So that's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 boys.
And
that is too many.
Yes. But before we get to all of those boys, it is very important to remember that Uta no Prince Sama started as an Otome game, so our first character is Haruka. She is our main character. I did not send you an image this time, Star, but I'm sure.
I know what she freaking looks like. Those vacant, dead fish eyes are burned into my brain forever.
Because she does have yellow eyes, no pupils, orange bob hair. She is their composer, and she is the only composer in this entire franchise because she writes the best music ever. Big, like, every boy is in love with her. Big Otome game, like, self-insert OC. And that's how you know she's a self-insert OC. Her dead soulless eyes are how her... Apparently this is another thing we had talked about, that her grandmother is a wizard and controls her, because she does... She does also, like, do this thing where whenever she has an internal monologue, she's like, oh, grandma, this is what happened today. And she starts thinking about it. But in season 1, you do find out that her grandma is, like, 100% alive. So, like, we don't know why she's psychically connected to her grandma, but her grandma's not dead. She just talks to her in her head.
Grandmama, you won't believe the bullshit that happened today. Another fucking boy fell in love with me. I can't keep track of them all, Grandmama.
Grandmama.
What am I supposed to do?
So, continuing on, we'll get into our main boys. They are in a group called Starish. All of the boys in Starish and Heavens, like, one of the letters of either their first or last name makes up a letter of Starish, alternatively Heavens. That doesn't really matter. I'm just going to call them by their, like, given names, not their family names, because we're Americans. Yeah. So it makes it easy for us.
America. Welcome to America. We say your first name first, unless you're my fucking gym teacher in high school. The only person to have, like, ever called me by just my last name, and it was just like, who the fuck are you?
I don't think anyone ever tried to call me by my last name because it's not a typical white people name.
My brother apparently got called by his last name a lot because there were, like, 5 different people with the same first name in his grade.
I understand that.
But when I was a teacher, I made my students call me by my first name. I was just Starla Sensei, and
cute.
And, like, the spelling tripped them up a little bit, but, like, they got it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember one of my, I had adult students in some of my classes, like old grandmas and grandpas who were retired and just wanted to learn English.
Aww.
And they would always ask me, like, really, really complicated questions. But sometimes, one time they were like, Starla is your given name, right? And I'm like, yes, that's correct. And they're like, but don't you usually call teachers by their last name? I'm like, well, yes, that's true. And they're so like, so what's your last name? And I'm like, oh, it's Pritchard. And he's like, Miss Pritchard. And I'm like, don't.
But also, as Americans, we're going to go through our first names. So our first boy, we'll start with our Genki main character. He would be the main character if it wasn't an Otome game, but it is. He's Otoya. He has red hair. He's kind of the center in all the things. He's really happy. We found out in previous seasons that despite his happiness, he has a tragic backstory where he was an orphan. He helped with an orphanage last season, but he's just a good, happy boy. And he's the red one.
Ironically, the golden retriever is not. Well, I guess we have, like, an actual golden retriever, but this boy is like the happy boy energy.
He is happy boy energy. Up next is his roommate. Lots of people ship him and Otoya together. We have Tokia.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
It's like, because they're all in like season 1 assigned roommates, and then they just continue being roommates when they start going to not school, because again, they are in a production agency, but the production agency looks exactly like the school. The president of the production agency is the principal of the school, and their teachers are their trainers. So what we understand is that they shut the school down to just like produce these Starish boys or something, because here we are.
Fuck all them other kids.
I mean, maybe. So his roommate is Tokia. He is Hannah Montana. He used to be a pop idol named Hayato. He hid his secret identity to go to school, became part of Starish. He is a serious one, but he's not like... he started off as like edgy, angry, serious, but then like later on, he's just like, yeah, I'm just a normal dude in his own way.
He chilled out at some point.
He definitely chilled out, but he's definitely one of the more experienced in the show, and he's known to be like the most talented of all of them and like the one with the most industry experience. He is one of our Chihayas because he has a great singing voice and he loves music.
And he has blue hair.
And he has blue hair.
It's like navy, dark blue, basically black, but close enough.
Yeah, like he has like Noctis Final Fantasy hair.
I mean, listen, you're not wrong.
And then the other Chihaya we have is Masato. His hair is more blue than black, and he has like weird like blunt bang-y things.
He could be a gender bend of Chihaya from Idol Master.
He really could. And also he has, or like also like a lot of blue ones, he has like the very like traditional Japanese motif, very serious. His thing is he loves to play piano because you see him playing piano with Haruka, our main character, a lot in earlier seasons. His roommate is Ren. He is our sexy saxophone guy. He has like... He has like orange blondish hair that's kind of long, and he always has his shirt a little bit open, and he's always flirting with Haruka. He calls his fans little lambs. Just a little bit of like feeling, but some people like it.
Okay, weirdo.
And then we have Shio. Shio is the sporty boy. He's the short one. He has blonde hair with like pinkish tips. It's
like the opposite of frosted tips.
Yes, exactly. He almost always is wearing a fedora. Last season, I believe it was him. It was either him or Reiji gave Haruka a fedora as a sign of affection. It happens. But his whole thing is he loves sports. Season 1, one of his teachers, who is now his trainer, is like this like renowned like sporty actor who does all his own like shots and scenes and stunts, all his own stunts. And then he's like, I want to be just like you. And like basically the last few seasons were him like learning to be more of an action-y boy.
Action man.
His roommate is Natsuki. He is two people because his main everyday is, as Natsuki, he's our wonderful, happy golden retriever boy, always happy, always smiling, just go with the flow, doesn't let things get to him. He has golden retriever hair, so he has like bright gold hair. It's all curly and fluffy around his head, and he always is wearing glasses because when he takes his glasses off, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, he becomes the evil, angry, lets everything get to him, Satsuki. So what's important there is Satsuki, the evil version of him, remembers everything that happens when Natsuki's around, but Natsuki himself has no idea that Satsuki exists, even though everybody else knows about it.
It's just such an anime.
It's such an anime.
I still hate that his name is not Natsuki.
Yeah.
When he's in the... Oh yeah, it's Natsuki and Natsuki. It's like, I know that's an English joke, but you had the opportunity was right there. Come on.
And then lastly, we have Cecil. He is the boy who was a cat, is now a human boy. He was a prince, I think we said from South Maria. I don't remember why.
Because North Maria is where...
it's where Nagi Idol
Nagi
7
Idol
lives.
7 is from. So he's from South Maria.
He has darker skin, brown hair that's a little choppy. He's the green one, but he gets a little clingy and lovey-dovey on Haruka and is like, yep, I'm going to marry you one day. And everyone else is like, but romance is forbidden.
Forbidden! So, can I just have like a random aside?
Yes.
His name being Cecil and his color being green, every time I look at this boy, my brain autofills celery.
Yeah, that's fair. Celery. Celery cat. Can cats eat celery?
I mean, they can, but they probably shouldn't. Celery's like mostly water, I don't think.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
All right. So those 7 boys are Starish. So we start off with 7 boys. A lot of boys. And then
we over doubled the number of boys.
We over doubled the number of boys. So at the end of season 2, they're in a competition, and the rivals are a group called Heavens. They're all introduced then, but just a spoiler for the rest of the episode. This group, this season really centers around Heavens and Starish's relationships. So I will name them as they come up, because otherwise it's just overloaded amount of boys.
It's just too front heavy.
But there are 7 of them. They are all the nobodies of the 7 Starish boys we had mentioned. And they all have mini episodes with their nobody, so it'll make it a lot easier to know who's with whom.
Oh my god. Yep. Amazing.
It's so good. And then lastly, we have a group called Quartet Night. They are part of the same production agency as Starish. There's only 4 of them, thankfully. Were very...
God, at what cost? There's...
What cost?
He's like, yeah, there's only 4 of them added on to the original 14!
So these 4 boys are all professionals. They're all professionals before Starish. Their leader is Reiji. He is a good leafy green boy. He is the boy that if Star watched this show, she would love him, because he's the kind of core heart soul of their group that keeps the rest of them together, because the other 3 of them are assholes.
Can I just looking at this guy? I know we've talked about these guys before. We've discussed their whole thing. I just like from this picture, he just looks like his hair was cut with a lawnmower, but aside from that, he looks pretty normal. Ranmaru is the bitch energy and Camus is the bastard energy.
Yeah, that's exactly
what I'm getting off of them.
100% true. Ranmaru is the other one of the other ones in Quartet Night, who's the bitch energy one. He also is a deviant OC. He has white fluffy hair. His eyes are 2 different colors. He plays bass guitar, and he's a rocker boy.
He looks, if we're continuing with the Kingdom of Hearts aesthetic, he looks like the evil Soriku child.
I think that's what we had talked about before.
Probably,
so yes, I'm pretty sure this has been mentioned. Then there's I. He is the one who is a robot. I guess he's not that much of an asshole. He's just like very like matter of fact.
He just seems like the type of guy who would just like, yeah, you can cut my hair with a lawnmower, whatever.
Yeah, he has like longish hair, but it's like pulled back in one side on a fluffy ponytail. Sure. And then we have Camus, who is bastard energy. He's just like, I don't know how to describe Camus. He's an asshole. He's the type where like he acts really nice around his fans, but he like around everyone else, he's like, you're too lowly for me, right? He has deep voice.
He's like an evil vampire.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he looks like.
And he tends to have ice motifs around him. So those are those 4. They are mentioned, but thankfully they only have really like 1 episode centered around them. So we can focus on everyone else.
Sweep. Clean up these boys.
And then lastly, 2 more characters that I want to mention.
Oh God, more. There's more. We're already at 19.
These are not idols, but they are important, which are, they were briefly mentioned before. We have the president, who is in charge of Quartet Night and Starish. His name is Shining Saotome. He used to be an idol, and now he runs this production agency. He's very gregarious. He's Mari from Love Live's dad, I think we had talked about before, because he has that energy. The other guy we want to talk about is the president from Heavens' group. So Starish is in Saotome Productions. Heavens is in Otori Productions. And so their president's name is Raging Otori. So we have Shining Saltome and Raging Otori. And he also used to be an idol. But apparently he was a very famous idol before Shining Saltome. And when he retired, when he retired, he was top of the charts. But then Shining Saltome took over, and he's had a vendetta against Shining Saltome, which is why the groups are rivals. So
rivals.
I believe that was all mentioned in like season 2. The wild thing is, I guess we'll start, right? Episode 1. The wild thing is season 2, we get like a lot more of like the Heavens rivalry. And then like season 3, you don't hear from them the entire season until at the very end, which is when episode 1 picks up. There is a competition between Quartet Night and Starish to be part of the Triple S Superstar Sports Festival, which is like the Olympics, basically, to be like the opening act, right? And there's like a panel of judges who have to decide who is going to be like the main performers of Triple S concert. And then right after they have their 2 little concerts, like audition things, Heavens shows up out of nowhere, sings a song called Heaven's Gate, and everyone's like, oh shit, Heavens just like walked in here, and now everyone's cheering for them. What's going to happen? So Heavens shows back up at the end of the season.
Dun, dun, dun.
So episode 1, we are where we left off. Okay, well, we're kind of where we left off. So we do cut in to like it being like the time, and like everyone's like, who's gonna win, right? Who is gonna win? Triple S. I'll mention a little bit. We have a cutaway, and it's just like all the boys declaring their love for Haruka, because episode 1 of every single season of UtaPri are boys declaring their love for Haruka. So sure. And then we get the OP. Maji Love Legend Star, the OP is actually like really low key. I would share with you, Star, it's really hard to find clips of UtaPri songs with the video on YouTube. But it's pretty low key for an OP, like kind of slow, kind of like sad even. I mean, there's like a little bit like, oh, I'm sad, but I have hope in our love. But like not what one would expect from an OP. And then we are back in the show. And we're like at the part where it's like everyone's like, who's gonna win this award? Is it Heavens? Is it Starish? Is it Quartet Night? And like all the eyes are on the panel of judges, and they're like, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? And then the judge speaks up, and he's like, the winner is Quartet Night. And like the crowd goes wild. And they're like, also, Heavens is not even like considered to be part of this qualifiers because they didn't show up before. They just like came into this thing without like actually being part of the initial auditions. So they don't count, right? And then Reiji steps up and he's like, well, I'm going to decline the invitation on behalf of Quartet Night because we want to have a fair fight between all 3 groups, not just between Quartet Night and Starish. So we can't accept your offer like this. However, if you decide you do want us really bad, or you really think that we're the right choice, we want to prove it like on equal playing field where all 3 of us are entered and redo this audition concert.
Meet us behind the Denny's for an ass kicking.
And so then some time passes while like the panel of judges are like supposed to be discussing between themselves about what's going to happen. We get some more just each of the boys flirting with Haruka, like from all of the groups. So like,
oh my God,
all 18 of them flirting with Haruka.
Lord, how long does that take?
It takes most of the episode because
boy. UtaPri.
Yeah. So it takes most of the episode because then finally at the end of the episode, Haruka goes to the panel decision, and the panel decides, yes, let's redo this Triple S audition concert. It'll take place around Christmas, and it'll be all 3 groups, and the winner, well, that winner 100% will be the one who goes to Triple S.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't feel like how it would work in real life.
Yes.
So, okay, so just for clarity, because I don't remember because it's been a bit since our 3rd season episode.
Sure.
So they were chosen to be a part of the, like the finalists to audition for this, like, big Super S whatever concert?
Yes.
But Quartet Night was not originally in that?
Heavens wasn't originally in it. Heavens crashed the concert with their own song.
And they were allowed to do that because
they were just so good that nobody cared.
Oh.
You see? That's how it works.
How did they even get past security is my question.
Well,
how did, like...
in the concert, they did summon a dragon, and they did descend from the sky. So... I think there's multiple ways they could have done that, honestly.
I'm picturing, like, they've got a dragon on stage, but they also summoned a dragon in the control room to run their lighting and sound for them so that they could play this music. And, like, all the other, like, stage techs are just, like, hiding in the corner. And they're like, holy fucking shit, there's a dragon in here. And he's taking over our equipment. What are we supposed to fucking do?
Well, against Star, you have to remember, in UtaPri, there are not stagehands because the boys sing so good, they summon the audience to a different dimension.
That's right. But I know that's the thing, but I really want to see, like, this lighting tech dragon just, like, take over, and everyone else is just like, what the fuck is that? Fuck? Heavens, did you invent dragons just for this show? What alternate dimension did you summon him from, and why does he know how to use the lighting rig?
Why does he know how to use the lighting? Well, now that the decision has been made that the winner of this final concert will be the Triple S person, they're like, well, but one last thing. To even the playing ground, all 3 groups are going to sing a brand new song, all written by the same composer. And you'll never guess who the composer is.
I have no idea who that composer could be.
And Haruka's like, well, that's a lot of work, but my contract says I need to write it. Okay.
Is it? I hope she's getting paid very well to put up with these shenanigans.
She gets forced to write so much.
Mm-hmm. Sweet baby might need to join a union.
Jesus, like, right.
She's being a little overworked, perhaps.
So, then we get the ending. It's just like a very cute, fluffy song about like working together and stuff. I feel the downside about Maji Love, Legend Star, UtaPri Legend Star is the first 2 seasons and even like the 3rd season, they had like real bangers of OP and endings, but these ones are just kind of like middle of the road, you know? So not as much bangers as our Maji Love 1000% or 2000% or Revolutions. There's some good music in the show, but like the OP and ending aren't as memorable. So
that's
Sarah's critique. All right, so episode 2. So this is the one where we have a little bit of focus on Quartet Night before like their only purpose is kind of to like be there at the concert at the end and to give the other boys advice. So you can remember these guys now and then you could forget them for a while.
Wipe them from existence. Goodbye. Sweep them out onto the front porch. Be gone.
But first up, we do have an announcement, which is going to show what's going to happen the rest of the season, which is our Stars Boys. They go on like a regular TV program called Song Festa. My guess is it's like a weekly or daily thing. And this time they go to their Song Festa like filming and Heavens is there. And they're like, oh shit, no one told us Heavens would be here too. And then
Did they bring their dragon stagehands to this one too?
No, because they were scheduled to be there. Instead, the person who crashes the filming is their president, Shining Saotome, Starish's president. And he's like, hey, Starish and Heavens, the reason why we brought you here today is for an announcement, which is, in preparation for the Triple S tryouts, we are starting a new project called the Duet Project. And what it is, is we're gonna pair you with your nobodies, and then
the what's the second group with only 4 boys?
Quartet Night.
And then the Quartet Night is just like, what are we, chop liver? Hey,
yeah,
hey.
But I guess the idea is because Quartet Night won last time, they're like, well, we gotta like level up our boys to face Quartet Night, and so we are doing this project where all of you are going to pair up with people from the other agency, and Haruka's going to write songs for you to sing, even though she's already working on this other project.
Get a new composer! Stop overworking Haruka! Stop! She's already dead!
And so all you fans can look forward to hearing the duets between Starish and Heavens in the future, right?
On a new, like, probably breaking them up into, like, 3 different albums.
Also, just all of this, both Heavens and Starish, this is the first time, like, all the actual boys are hearing about this, like, on their live program from their presidents, and they're like, okay, sure, we have to get ready for this big concert, but also we're pairing up with our rivals.
That's fun and cool, and love to hear that announced for the first time on a live program where we can't really object to it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this is where they are leaving the film studio, and they're both like going down the elevator, Heavens and UtaPri, or Heavens and Starish. They're both in separate elevators, and we see like, first we have a clip of Starish boys, and they're discussing it happening, and there's like a mix between people being like, well, I don't want to work with them, and then people like Natsuki and Cecil being like, wow, I can't wait to meet new friends, right? And meanwhile, Heavens has almost the same exact conversations, but usually like slightly opposite characters. And then like they both reach the lobby at the same time, and they just stare at each other and walk away. And you're like, oh, the drama.
The drama. These boys, the boys are presidential alert. The boys are fighting.
The boys are fighting. All right. So now that that has been set up, we get into the meat of the episode, which is the Quartet Night boys, who
all right.
They have recently they got like awarded, like they were going to be the winners of Triple S, but they know that this duet project thing's happening, and they also know that like Starish and Heavens are only going to get better. So Reiji, their leader, the only normal human in their group, or like the nicest guy from the group, he's like, hey, what we really need to do is we really need to bond with each other a lot more, because like 2 of you are assholes, 1 of you just doesn't really bond with us. And to do that, let's all be roommates, because so far we've been living at our own places, but like Starish and Heavens live in their dorms. Let's all move into my place together, right?
Sleepover!
However, things don't go great. Basically all 3 of them start blaming Reiji, like whenever they don't get along. They're like, oh, you made us like live together. Don't you know that like I like just doesn't care and just like picks sides? And like there's a part where Camus, specifically the Bastard Energy guy, he like really likes sugar like a lot, so like he's like, who's been stealing my sugar cubes, right? And then
is he a horse?
Maybe.
Camus is actually an anagram for
horse.
Mosk, which is Latin for horse.
Horse.
Yeah, don't look it up. Just take our word for it.
And then this is also where we get the most important line of the show star, which you can click on very soon. Which is Camus, who loves sugar so much, decides to steal all of Ranmaru's bananas and put them in a honey solution. And Ranmaru gets especially furious and says the best line in UtaPri. And Star, you can click on the link.
Now?
Banana はそれだけで完全無欠な食べ物なんだ Banana is perfect!
What is it? Banana is perfect!
Banana is perfect!
Why does he just say it in English?
I don't know why, but he does, and he's so intense about it. And a lot of when I was looking up UtaPri season 3 were clips of just this scene. Like, I tried to find clips of the show, and I could just find clips of this scene. So, Banana is perfect, everyone.
You heard it here first, folks. Ranmaru loves Banana from
is
Review
perfect.
Starlight.
Jeez,
Banana is perfect.
That is what I need to take this audio clip and just like have it over like image of Nana from Review Starlight because yes, I agree. She is perfect. She did nothing wrong. We'll edit that.
Wrong.
She did nothing
Bananas
wrong.
did nothing wrong.
Banana is perfect.
Banana is perfect.
So basically the bananas are the breaking point, like actually. And they're all like, well, fuck this. We hate this. AG, this is all your fault. Bananas are perfect. He does not respect my bananas. We're gonna quit at this rate. Bye. And then Reiji's like,
little do you know the bananas are a metaphor.
Oh,
what are the bananas for? I don't fucking know. But it's a metaphor, you see.
It's a metaphor for Die Banana in Review Starlight, actually.
Bananas are perfect.
They're perfect.
I'm gonna be a giggling hot mess for like the next 45 minutes, and we just all need to be accepting of that because it will not change.
Because Banana is perfect.
Bananas is perfect.
So basically, Reiji's like, you know what? I'm the one who forced you all together. You're right. I'm leaving. Bye, work it out yourselves, right? And he leaves. And all the other 3 boys are like, what? Reiji's usually the one who tries to fix our problems, and he's just running away. What do we do? Right?
Like, wait, Mom, come back, fix our problems.
Because he really is like the mom. Like everyone else is a freaking child in that group.
Mama!
So then that night, like they all do their work and they come back and they're like, hey, Reiji's still not here. Like they're all like, we looked under the couch and he's not there and he's not in the closet. Like, I think he's like actually gone.
To make you cry.
So at that point, they're all like freaking out, right? They're like, where's Reiji? And then Haruka shows up and she's like, oh, hey, I have the song I was supposed to write for you for Triple S concert. Hey, where's Reiji? And they're all like, Mom left and she didn't come back home, right?
We don't know where Mom is.
We don't know where Mom is.
She left us alone at the grocery store. We've been here all day. We don't know what to do. Help.
So then they like start.
Do you know where our mom went? You're not our mom. Our mom wears a fedora. And she has floopy hair.
And here's the thing, actually, last time we watched UtaPri, we had not watched Ensemble Stars yet, and Reiji does look a lot like Mama Ensemble Stars. I'd Illuminati confirmed.
I'd Illuminati confirmed, Mama! Ooh! I don't want to die! We've been in this grocery store all damn night! Okay, I'm done with my
Bananas is perfect.
Perfect. So
they all start like looking around.
Wait, no, yes. Sarah, I have one more. I have one more. Later in that song, Scaramouche, bananas is perfect. Thunderbolts and lightning.
You're absolutely right. 100%.
Okay, now I'm done. Continue. I'm sorry.
So they all like go around, like they talk to like some of the trainers / teacher people, and they're like, well, like, yeah, of course Reiji is leaving. You guys have been like relying on him to like pull you all together, and he's the only one who's really been putting in the work to like make yourselves a unit.
Y'all are a bunch of bitches. No wonder he left.
And so
like, seriously, have you seen each other? Like, goddamn.
They all separately go looking around the city for him because they haven't been able to get a hold of him. And then they all
yodeling, Mama.
And then they all end up at the same beach, and they're like, we all looked around everywhere and we still can't find him. And then they have a flashback.
I'm very sorry. I keep interrupting you. I had a brain image of that one, like, One Piece meme of, like, the Chopper crying meme.
Yes.
it's just that, but it's all the Quartet Night boys screaming, Mama! Where's Reggie? That's like the mental image I have for this entire latter half of the episode.
Yeah. So they all meet up on the same beach, right? And then they have some sad boy talk where they're like, yeah, we were just like full of ourselves and we really need Reiji. And they like remember like when they first started as a group, they're like, we don't want to work with each other. And then Reiji's like, I think we'll be great. I think this will work, right? Like, because that's just, he's put up with these assholes this whole time. And they're like, wow, we really need this dude.
Yeah.
And then Reiji, they like, woo, they're out of their flashback. And Reiji's like, I heard all of that, boys. I'm here. And he's like, you know
Don't
what?
worry, boys. Your mother is here
Your
to
mother is
collect
here.
you.
And
Have
he's
you
like,
learned your lesson?
and he's like, hey, don't worry about it. Don't be blaming yourselves. It really is my fault. I just like up and left and like, I shouldn't have done the roommate thing. I knew it could have backfired. I just really wanted us to be as good as we could, but maybe we were like doing great already and it's all my fault. And they're all like, nah, actually it's probably our fault. And then they all talk about like how like despite the fact that they're mostly assholes, they all have a strong bond and they're like, you know, as proof that our bond is strong, we all ended up at this beach at the same time. And you're like, whoa. They have the love life
bonds.
It's the love life syndrome where they all end up at the same place.
Okay, now wait, because
right.
okay, so the original Muse Boy,
You're right.
The Muse Girls became Starish. The Sunshine Girls. Well, there's only 4 Quartet Night characters, so something wacky happened there. Maybe these are like their grandkids.
I love that. They each had children.
They each had children,
With
and then
each
their
other.
children had children. All right, and then those children were bitches, except for Reiji.
Who would be the non-bitches? Let's see. Because I feel like I has a bit of Ruby in him, because I don't know. I just feel that. And then...
this is going to come down to you. Ranmaru has to be Yohane, like, a little bit, because he
definitely has
like,
Yohane. He's the DeviantArt OC. But also maybe a little bit Camus, so maybe she, you know...
Camus is like rich... Correct me if I'm wrong. Camus has like rich boy vibes, so I could see him being like a Mari grandson.
Oh yeah, I could see that too.
Because, you know, family money inherits. They all just have the recessive bitch gene.
So maybe that and Yo. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, they have similar hair colors to Yo, so I get it.
And then we just have like Chica Reiji.
Chica Reiji.
The one who can attract people to the beach with her.
Yeah. Yep. Teleportation powers. To the beach. It's like, wait, no, I need you to imagine, like, if Tokyo was not anywhere near the beach. It's just like they were originally from like some landlocked prefecture in Japan, but Reiji's main power is summoning people to the beach.
Straight to the beach.
He's like, Reiji, how did we end up here? What happened? And he's like, I used my idol anime powers to summon you all to this beach. Where the fuck are we? Is this a random beach? He's like, yeah, I don't know. It changes beaches every time.
Oh no!
He's like, Reiji, how are we gonna get home?
Every time. Well, thankfully, Reiji does drive an old Volkswagen, which you see at the end of the episode. You get their PV, and it's all of them like driving in his old like Volkswagen with like the top down and the windows out, and they put their hands up and they're singing their song.
And playing my song, the butterflies fly away. Nodding my head like yeah, moving my head like yeah.
But it is a very happy, carefree, like almost summery song because they're just driving along the beach and they're singing
Moving
their song.
my hips like, yeah.
And everything
don't
is
put
okay.
the actual song in there. Just put the song that I was singing in there instead. This is like the most chaotic episode we've had in a while. How is this a more chaotic episode than our Cursed Idol October
Because
episodes?
we're in UtaPri. It's UtaPri and Love Live. Those are the ones.
It's UtaPri, and we're recording earlier in the day than we usually do.
We are awake. We're dialed in.
And we are making fucking jokes.
Okay, so now
It's an hour in, and we've covered 2 episodes.
That's because I spent like fucking 40 minutes talking about all 50,000 boys in the show.
Oh, many boys.
There's so many boys.
So many boys. Do.
So, episode 3. Now we're going to get into the duet projects. So, our Starish
right.
boys and their nobodies who are in heavens.
Yep.
And our first group is Tokia. He is our Hannah Montana Chihaya.
Okay.
And his pair is with Eiji, who is
Normal
man. He, like Star said, he just looks like a normal guy. He has brown hair. He just has like a normal, pleasant expression on his face.
He looks like if this anime was dubbed by 4 kids, they would change his name to Matt.
They probably would.
I am Matt from California.
So the part about Eiji being normal is what makes him abnormal. Because if you look, his name is Eiji. There's also a character in Heavens named Eichi. There are 2 different characters, Eiji and Eichi. And they are both brothers. And they are also both the sons of Raging Otori, who he is a really weird, wild motherfucker. And then Eichi is our main character, like super evil villain guy, and he's a wild fucking character. And then the brother's like, I am a normal man.
Normal man.
And the fact that he is normal stands out because everyone else is so friggin' weird.
Their mother must have been like the most normal generic woman in the world to balance out the chaos.
Who knows? Or she was really, really fucking weird and he like is normal like as like a way to rebel against his family.
No, you're right. That has to be it. It's too normal for him to just have a normal
so
mom.
Normal.
My name is Matt. I'm from California. I like to play soccer.
So he and Tokia are meeting up for their like talk with Haruka about their duet project. And when Tokia walks into the room, Eiji is singing, and he is singing a song that's like kind of in English. If you remember like Tokia's early episode.
He's from California!
Well, if you remember Tokia's earlier episode, he used to sing like Amazing Grace because the kids' hospital and stuff. This guy is also singing some sort of song that's like very much like, oh yes, the wings of an angel. And you're like, these guys are just Jesus freaks. So here we are.
He's a Jesus freak. Jesus freak.
So he has like angel wings behind him and he's singing this heavenly song. And then Tokia sees this and he starts singing the same song. And they're like, wow, we have this bond of music. And their voices actually do sound really good together. And they
What
both
church do you go to?
Oh my God. I'm Matthew. I mean, I could see that.
No, I didn't even mean that.
I could see that being the conversation is the thing.
Oh no!
Because he's so normal.
He's so normal.
He would just have a normal guy conversation. He would just have a normal man conversation. He also is from Heavens, so.
He is from Heavens. I'm gonna pass out. Okay. If UtaPri season 4 was dubbed by 4 kids, all these fuckers would have Bible names. I'm calling it now.
Yeah, Yeah, but everyone else would be like Ezekiel and like Hosea, and this guy is just
assign Ezekiel to one of them.
Ezekiel is his brother H. No, he would like Deuteronomy. Like we have like the weird voice, and then this guy is Matthew. Like this is who we are.
I'm Matthew.
Because he's so normal.
Sarah, we're not going to be able to finish this episode.
He's
I'm
so
gonna pass out, Sarah. I'm going to not be able to take oxygen into my lungs fast enough to maintain consciousness, Sarah.
So,
causing physical harm.
Back to the episode. Basically, they start
want to go back.
They start singing whatever 4Kids dub like. What would the 4Kids dub be of their song? Like Jesus loves me, yes I know, 'cause
the Bible tells me so.
So they start singing it together. And
no, our God is an awesome God.
Oh, there you go.
I only know that song because of the infomercials that were on the television when I was a child.
Wow, you're right. I'm going back. So they start singing their infomercial song.
I don't know any more of that song. I only know the 5 seconds of the chorus that was on the infomercials.
They start singing the Hairbrush song from VeggieTales, and then.
You have to keep going. You have to keep going, Sarah.
And then they look at each other and they're like, wow, you know that song too? And then, what church do you go to? And then... You
don't understand. I physically am in pain. Because I can't fucking breathe. And my throat hurts from laughing so hard.
Because and then... AG. I feel like I really want to call him Matthew now, so it's going to be hard to call him AG. So
apologies to all the AG fans, but at the same time, you fell for the most normal ass man in this show. So I mean, like, what did you expect?
But normal at this point is a personality trait because there's no normal people in the show except for Matthew.
Matthew AG.
Matthew AG.
No, it's like Matthew in quotes, or AG in quotes Matthew, and then whatever the fuck his last name is. Tori.
So anyways, he's like, wow, you know that song too? And he's like, yeah. And Tokyo's like, yeah, like I've been listening to that like album since I was a kid of like this like show that the song's from.
All the church songs from that infomercial.
It's from it's an infomercial / VeggieTales. And then AG's like, yeah, I saw it live once and it like never left my head. And Tokyo has like this thought. He's like, he like only heard it once and he knew it that perfectly. What the fuck, right?
Oh my God, normal man is powerful.
And they like practice their song together and they're like perfectly in sync. And then Tokyo, like you could tell, is like a little intimidated, but AG's just like, wow, Tokyo, you're so talented. I'm so glad I get to work with you. I could tell you're like one of the best like artists of our time. And I'm really excited to learn more from you. Just like normal, like a normal conversation about how like two people who are in the same industry can respect each other without being weird about it. Just like a normal person. Thank you, Matthew, for being normal.
Thank you, Matthew. I feel like we would be remiss if we did not mention the meme that is normal SpongeBob at some point during this conversation, because that's what this fuck looks like. It looks like normal SpongeBob.
Yeah. So
Aichi, his older brother who looks like an evil CEO, is like normal SpongeBob but evil, and AG is like normal SpongeBob.
Just normal SpongeBob
with no alterations.
So basically after this, like Tokyo's like, wow, that practice went so differently than like every other practice I've had with Starish, and I love my Starish boys. But like he goes back and he's like starting to like tell like, hey, everyone, we need to practice more. Like you need to work harder. We need to stop slacking off. And everyone's like, Tokyo, what's gotten into you? And he's like, guys,
I met a very normal boy.
I met a normal boy named Matthew, and he had a normal conversation with me, and it changed everything.
He just had like a normal, the most normal conversation I think I've ever had my entire life. And I just realized now what life can be like when you're not an anime boy.
So basically he's like starting to get like on the Starish Boys' tails about practicing hard. It gets a little bit worse when he goes to practice with Matthew later, and he walks in.
Matthew now.
He's just Matthew now. And he walks in and like he's like practicing with all the Heavens boys, and he sees all the Heavens guys practicing and they're all really good. And he's like, oh shit, we have a lot of work to do if we want to even be like possible competition to Heavens, right?
We have to get more normal.
We have to get more normal. And again, like every time this happens, like AG's just like, oh, Toki, I'm so sorry that like I was in practice late. I won't let it happen again. Let's get to our own practice and let's work hard together and just be respectful of each other and normal.
And Toki is just like backed into a wall, just like what the fuck is this? Why are you so
on?
normal? What kind of eldritch monstrosity is he?
So Tokia is just thinking more and more about like, wow, like Heavens is so much better than us. I gotta convince my other boys to like not be so freaking weird.
Wait, I'm gonna hold them down and dye all their hair to like a normal color.
And so as he's leaving, Raging Otori walks up to him, who again is AG/Matthew's dad, and he's like, hey kid, you're obviously
like,
the most talented man in all of Shining Saotomi Productions. If you ever want to jump ships and be with us, I'll put you in Heavens, right?
Come to my church on Sunday.
No, because again, he is a weirdo. This guy doesn't go to church. This guy is in a cult. Like
he's a heathen.
like his son, like just a normal guy. Like sure, but this guy is all like, yeah, I go dance
Drink the Kool-Aid.
I go dance naked in the forest on Tuesdays. Like,
Oh god.
Dad is weird. AG did not inherit any traits from the rest of his family. But Tokia's like, well, what the fuck, right? And so he goes back to his Starish practice, and he walks in on all of the Starish boys, like reading like media reports, like, oh, Tokia's been spending a lot of time over there with normal boy Matthew. Do you think he's going to jump ship to Heavens? Like everyone's speculating on the news. And then all the Starish boys are like, this is silly. There's no way Tokia would leave us. He loves us too much. We're just too good. It doesn't matter. We're fine, right? Mm-hmm. And then Tokia walks in. He's like, well, actually, Raging Otori tried to scout me earlier, so they're not that far off. And like, you can't just be assuming that everything's gonna be okay without working harder. Like, I saw some incredible things. I saw this normal man in the midst of all these other crazy boys, and like they're like really talented and they're really good. And like as we are, like maybe eventually I will leave because like I feel like we're not going anywhere, and we need to actually try hard, and we can't just be complacent with who we are, right?
And maybe I want to be normal. Aside from Cecil, I have the most normal hair out of any of you guys. Maybe I could be normal.
And then he's also like, even though I love being with Starish now, I can't promise that my personal like life goals will always be with Starish if it continues down like at this rate, right? Mm-hmm. And so then later all the Starish boys have like sad boy time where they're thinking about what Tokia said, and they start like talking with each other and like, we've been too complacent, we've been letting things slide. We won against Heavens like 2 seasons ago and we thought we were okay, but obviously they've used their season in between to improve, and like we're just the same as we've always been, and maybe Tokia is right. Like if this keeps going this way, we're just gonna crash and burn, right? Mm-hmm. So they go to Tokia and they're like, hey, we can tell that you've been working really hard, especially like with normal boy Matthew. We've been seeing you improve. You've been like trying to get us to improve, and we've just been complacent. But after what you said, you're right. We need to work even harder, and we're going to use our next few episodes where we're all hanging out with our nobodies to become even better too. Thank you for inspiring us. And then Tokia's like, I also was a little too harsh earlier. I'm not talking about actively leaving Starish at all. Like, that's not what I was saying. I'm just saying, like, we're going down a bad path. But we all have our own strengths. Like, even though Quartet Night and Heavens have their own strengths, we have things that they don't even have. And then he, like, says some foreshadowing for future episodes where he's like, Natsuki, Like, for example, for Natsuki, you have like this ability to shield people and like be their protection. And Shio, you have this forward strength and personality. And Ren, you're so refined and like sure of yourself. And Masato, you have these strong convictions and you're always like sure of which direction you're going. And Cecil, like your pure love of music and like going back to your roots, like really like ties us together. And Otoya, you have this brilliant smile that casts light on our future. And that's something special that you all have and definitely won't ever come into question this Ep season. And so then back at practice, Tokia is like happy because his Starish boys have decided to like not just like, I don't know, be playing like Fortnite all day, right? And actually practice.
Yeah.
And he's like, AG, I know you said before that I'm like the most talented person in Saotome Productions, but you know, honestly, I was feeling a little jealous of you all because I felt like you were all more talented than me. But here's the thing is I'm just going to work hard to be my best self because I love Starish and I love their group. But in doing so, I also want to work really hard with you and we'll be besties, right? Mm-hmm. And then AG/Matthew is like, hey, that really means a lot because like you're saying I'm really talented. Honestly, my dad, he's a real freak and he always said I wasn't going to go anywhere in life. So the fact that you have confidence in me makes me feel a lot better. And you're like, how did this normal man get put down by anybody? Because he's so...
Where did you come from?
Where did you come from? And then he's like, yeah, actually working with you kind of changed things for me too because like Heavens is really good and really talented, but it always felt more like work or a chore. And I know now that like, especially after singing with you, music can be fun and I'm going to work hard to have more fun singing with Heavens. And then they sing their song. It's called Mighty Aura. It does like because they're both like both the voice actors, especially like Tokia and AG/Matthew. They're both like really good solo singers, so there's like a lot of like long harmonies. There's a point where they both sprout wings and fly up into the sky because they are angel boys.
Are there angel? Yeah, I was gonna ask. And you know, like Mighty Aura sounds like it could be a Jesus song. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't put it past these normal guys. Put it past our 4Kids dub.
Our 4Kids dub. Listen, we're not saying that they're actually like this. We're saying that like if 4Kids dubbed it, that's what it would be.
1990s 4Kids dubbed because what was that? It was like dubbed in like it wasn't 4Kids in like Houston, Texas too. It was like very
fucking know.
Southern. So yes,
this is our 4Kids headcanon. New challenge on the Discord. If your favorite idol anime was dubbed by 4Kids, what horrible localization changes would they make?
Episode 4.
Challenge mode.
So
episode 4.
We have Shio and Yamato, who is not at all like Yamato, Idol 7. Very different personality.
He's like Yamato, but he like tried to bleach his hair, and so now instead of dark green, it's like kind of light acidy green.
Yes. So he has light acidy green hair. It's a little flippy. He is again, they're all each other's nobodies, right? So he is an intense sporty guy, right? And it starts out with their meeting, so Shio and Yamato. And they were coming up with their song with Haruka, and Yamato's like, ugh, whatever. Why do I have to work with you? Ugh. Right? Ugh. And he's like, it's not worth singing with anyone except for my brother. He's the only one who like I even care about. He's my only rival, right?
Wait. Now I gotta guess which one's his brother.
Guess who his brother is.
Is it Van Helsing?
No, it's not another idol, but it is someone we've met.
It is someone who the fuck is not an idol that we've met? That's a brother.
Well, I will go ahead and spoil it. His brother is Shio's idol / his trainer, the sporty guy who does his own stunts.
Oh, interesting.
So he's all like, oh, I don't want to work with you, Shio. I only care about working with my brother, right? And so after this happens, Shio and Haruka go talk to teacher brother guy who works at Shining Saotome. And he's like, guess my brother's the same as he's always been, which is he only cares about competing with me. And if it's not a competition, he won't even try, right? And then Shio's like, oh, what you just said gave me an idea. Muscle fight.
Muscle fight. Muscle fight. Muscle fight.
So muscle fight is apparently a not Ninja Warrior, but actually Ninja Warrior celebrity competition where they go through like an intense Ninja Warrior race, and the two people with the highest amount of points at the end duke it out in like a kickboxing tournament.
They just punch each other. Yes!
Yeah, it's so good.
I want to see these idols beat the shit out of each other. Let's go.
And apparently, teacher guy brother was like the first like big victor of muscle fight and has like an open invitation to come back whenever he wants. And Shio's like,
muscle fight.
What if I convince your brother to be in muscle fight with me? Do you think he'd like do it? And like Hyoga, the teacher's like, yeah, probably, right? So later on, the two brothers talk, and Hyoga's like, hey, Shio's gonna be in muscle fight, and he's going to be there in my stead. And then Yamato's like, well, why would I even care? I don't want to go up against Shio in muscle fight. And then the teacher's...
It's not like I want to punch him out or anything, Baka.
And the teacher's like, well, if you can't beat Shio, then you obviously couldn't beat me. And then Yamato's like, okay, fine, I'll be a muscle fight. Right?
Nani?
So then we get both boys training on both being idols and also muscle fight shit. Like practicing their punches and stuff. Yep, get our montage. And then Shio has a conversation, I think, with Haruka about like how like, well, Yamato says he only cares about being his brother, and like if that's the only reason why he wants to be an idol, like, I gotta prove it to him that real idols can win no matter what, and no matter if it's the brother or someone else, right? And then it's muscle fight time!
Muscle fight!
Muscle fight! They go through the obstacle course. The two of them get the top 2 points so they can punch it out, right? There's a lot of just the obstacle course. Watch Ninja Warrior, I guess, if you want to get some of what that's like. They even have like a Mount Midoriyama in the background. Like it's very clearly Ninja Warrior, except for the punching part at the end, which I don't think happens in Ninja Warrior. So then it's fighting time, and Shio is fighting Yamato. Shio kind of is losing for most of the time, right? Like he'll get up, he'll get a couple punches in, and then Yamato like do a big swing and like Shio would fall down, but then Shio will get back up and he'd be like, let's keep going, right? So he keeps getting punched down and punched down and punched down. And Yamato would like punch him, and then he'd like look over to see like what his brother in the audience is looking at. And then Shio be like, stop looking at him. Look at me. I'm your opponent, not your brother, right?
Look at me!
And he's like, you know what? Do you hear the crowd? And the crowd's like cheering for each of them. He's like, that's what gives me my strength as an idol, not my rivalry with my siblings. Idols, when they get punched down, they get right back up and punch harder back. And so then he like starts getting into it more, right? And then Yamato starts getting more and more excited about like the fight with Shio and not just the brother thing. He's like living in the moment and being like, wow, I guess this idol spirit is good because he keeps getting back up, right? And then they both go Super Saiyan.
Oh.
And they start singing a very intense song.
Okay.
It's very intense. There's a lot of like super Sentai sound effects in it. They're fighting in space while they're singing, and the brothers' spectral visages in the air. And like then it cuts back to real life at Muscle Fight, and the crowd is cheering, and they're both on their knees, barely able to stand up. And Shio's like, "You heard that song, right?" And then Yamato's like, "It was just an hallucination." And they both collapse. Which, sure.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to after Muscle Fight. I guess there were no winners because it was a double knockout. And Shio's like, "Hey, Yamato, see you at practice." And Yamato's like, "Yeah, sure." Acknowledges Shio and the power of idols and idol songs in the middle of Muscle Fight. The end. Muscle Fight.
Muscle Fight.
So that's episode 4. Is fine. Episode 5. This one is, we have Cecil, our cat boy, and Shion. He has like whitish blonde hair. It's kind of flippy. It kind of like covers his eyes just a little bit. And he kind of has the personality where like he's very like, he's not really serious. He's just very like shy and reserved, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, start of the episode, it's pretty cute. We start with Cecil, and he's practicing saying like hello and goodbye because he's like, this is the first time I'm talking with someone who's starish, who's Japanese. I gotta learn and practice my human customs because I'm from South America.
Mm-hmm. Human customs?
Because he's a cat.
I can't just say nya every time I walk
Can't
in a room.
Can't be like, yeah. But he's like, I'm so excited. So like you could tell he's like really, really excited to be working with someone new. He's like, this could be the most fun thing ever where we're going to be bonded by our love of the muses, right? But when we start off, Shion shows up late. Like whenever like Cecil or Haruka propose something for their song, he's like, yeah, sure, whatever, let's do it, right? Like super disengaged. But meanwhile, Cecil is like, oh, I'm so excited. I love the muses. We walk the same path. They're going to do so good. And then Shion starts getting weird. And he's all like, you walk the same path, but the only path I walk is the path of darkness. And then Cecil,
I walk a lonely road, the only road that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes, but it's only me and I walk alone.
Well, actually, that is kind of how it goes, because he says that, and then Cecil's like, you're great at coming up with lyrics. That's going to be a great song. Yeah, let's use that.
I walk the lonely road, Cecil. It's the only road that I have ever known.
And Cecil's like, that's like a great song. and like, he's like, and he continues his like emo boy song, and Cecil's like, or it's like emo boy like talk, because he's just normal talking. And Cecil's
I don't know where the road goes, but it's only me and I walk alone.
And Cecil's like, yeah, write that down. And then Haruka, meanwhile's like, I am in between these two, and they think they're talking to each other, but I don't understand what they're saying at all, right?
Oh my gosh, amazing.
So like later there's a few discrepancies where like they like talk out with the Starish boys, and they're like, so how'd it go with Cecil? And Cecil's like, oh, it went great. We're like on the same vibe. We totally get each other. And then Haruka like is like, I don't know what's going on.
They're walking a lonely road. I think I'm very confused and scared.
So then they continue their practice. Cecil continues to be excited. Like after that conversation, he's like, oh yeah, we totally get each other. And he like tries to be all buddy-buddy with Shion. Like, here, I brought you snacks. But then Shion's like, I have my own. Bye. Thanks. Like very like pushing Cecil away. And he's slowly realizing that like Shion is like, oh, I guess he's just like a standoffish person, but it's not me. That's just how he is, right?
He really is. He does walk that lonely road.
He really must walk that lonely road. But then the next day he goes to practice and he gets there early and he sees Shion, and Shion is just being like really cool and lovey and affectionate with all the Heavens boys, right? And all the Heavens boys like are doting on him. Like there's a thing where he's like, I'm tired, hold me, carry me, senpai, right? And like they're like, oh, little Shion, we'll take care of you. And Cecil's like, wait, I thought he was an emo boy with emo boy lyrics. Is it me, actually?
Does he just hate me? Is it because he's a dog person and I'm a cat boy?
So he goes, they have their practice, and Cecil's like, hey, I saw you're friends with your Heavens guys, and I just wanted to let you know, don't worry, you're my friend too. And he like tries to like hold Shion's hand. He's like, we're bonded through music. And Shion's like, no, I'm at my limit, bye. And he walks off.
Oh, sick burn.
And then Cecil gets all sad and he's like, what did I do?
Buddy.
So he goes back to Starish and he's like trying to figure out what he did. And like the Heavens guys like burst in and they're like, what did you do to our Shion? Our pure sunlight angel child won't come out of his room and he's crying. And
what?
And so then Cecil's like, I don't know. He said he was done. And then like he remembers something that Shion said earlier, which is Shion's like, whatever, I only care about singing with Heavens. Right? So he's like, he said he only wanted to sing with Heavens. Maybe that's why. And then the Heavens boys are like, maybe that is why. Because you find out that apparently Shion, even though he was the last member to join Heavens, he's always been the one who takes it the most seriously. And despite also being the last person to join, like, he's the one that, like, each of the boys actually feel like they're closest to because he, like, pays a lot of attention to them and spends a lot of energy with Heavens. And maybe it's just that he's, like, so loyal to Heavens, he doesn't want to be with anyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Cecil, last season, he had Camus, the bastard energy guy, as his mentor. So he goes up to Camus and he's like, hey, so my partner from Heavens might not like me because he only wants to be in Heavens. And then Camus is like, well, yeah, like imagine like, I don't know, like if I kicked you out of Starish and I took your place, how would you feel? And then Cecil's like, I would feel bad. And he's like, well, Shion's probably thinking something similar, that you're like taking him out of his place and he's going to be forced out of Heavens to be with you. You just got to convince him it's not like that. It's cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then Cecil goes to confront Shion. Shion kind of like bursts out of his room and is like, I'm gonna run away from you all, trying to convince me to work with Cecil. And Cecil like chases him down, and eventually Shion like trips and Cecil like is like, hi, I can talk to you now, right?
You tripped on your lonely road, and now it's not a lonely road anymore, bitch.
So he's like, hey, I get it. Okay, I talked to your boys. I talked to my boys. The reason why you don't want to talk to me is because you feel like you're betraying Heavens when you talk to me. But, like, it's not like that at all, okay? Because, like, I love Starish. I'm not going to quit Starish. You love Heavens. You're not going to quit Heavens. What we're doing is we're just doing this project to make the thing we love the most stronger, right? So, like, this is actually beneficial to our group. It's not a betrayal. And he's like, I have a metaphor for you. He's like, look up at the sky. He's like, you know ancient myths and the muses, because I am this weird prince guy. You know how, like, there's constellations in the sky? So, like, imagine, like, Starish is its own constellation, and I'm just, like, one of the stars in the constellation that is Starish. And you are a single star in the constellation that is Heavens. But we're all part of the same night sky, and we're just little stars. And just because we're, like, maybe also part of this other constellation doesn't mean that we're separate from the other one. It's like, it was a very cute metaphor. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. I just keep hearing Katamari music playing in my head now, though.
Yeah.
The lonely rolling star. I think this is probably, we're not even halfway through the anime, and it's an hour and a half in, and how many like song references have we made? I
so
think
many different genres too.
Our new record. We did Queen. We did Jesus music. We did, I forgot what
Green Day.
Band does. Green Day.
We did Katamari.
We did Katamari music. God, now I just want to play Katamari again.
Yeah. So then Shion's like, starts just looking at the night sky, but he doesn't say anything. And then next day, Cecil goes to do the recording because he's like, well, I bet Shion will come, but even if he doesn't, I'm just going to be there anyways. And he starts singing, and then Shion shows up too, and they do their song. It's like, I forgot what the name of the song was. It's like Elven Mystic or something weird like that. And there's like a lot of flute, and it's very
like,
bananas is perfect.
Bananas is perfect.
There's a lot of
write your song about bananas.
BANANAS.
Oh! +1 for the song references. This shit is bananas. Bananas is PERFECT.
Yeah. So
I did it. I spelled.
You did it. You did so good. So they sing their song. It's very like kind of medieval because he's a prince and it's about going back to his roots or whatever.
Twinkle, twinkle, 星のね瞬く静かな夜 Twinkle, twinkle 泣いてるようで溢れ出す声は悲しげな吐息居場所を探して
And they do end up like at the end in space, and it's Shion and Haruka and Cecil doing like their cult like circle dance from last season. So or season 2, I forget which season some of the UtaPri shit happens. Into the sky and they vanish, right?
Okay, bye.
So then you see Shion, he's like, is this what the world outside of heavens is like? And Cecil's like, yes, we shone in our own constellations, but we will accept the shine with all of our being and shine even brighter for our own group's sake. The end.
The end.
Episode 6. So we're about halfway through. There's 13 episodes. So this one is Ren and Van. They're, again, are nobodies. Van kind of is like Gladio, a little bit looking. I don't know.
Gladio was a twink, maybe.
Well, he's in show. He's like he's actually a little bit like one of like the buffer guys. He's taller. He has like brown hair that's like mostly slicked back but a little curl. He has like a very deep voice. He's like ho 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 ho. But he also like occasionally like goes like he does like the Japanese comedian noises, like the well, that's a relief. Like he gets a little like very.
Yeah, he looks like the type.
Yes, he's
to
very
make comedian noises.
He really does make Japanese comedian noises. But this time, Ren and Van are both cast to be in a drama together, and it's like a short mini series. And the mini series is, for your benefit, Star, it is our Phoenix Wright. They are lawyers.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Because their role is that they're rival lawyers, and one of them is cool like the wind, and the other one has an intense fire like a phoenix.
Yes! Is one of them a prosecutor or one of them's an ace attorney and they kiss?
Yes, I 100% agree. And actually, here's the thing: is like, this is my I know more UtaPri than all of you, which is not true at all. But I'm like, man, a lot of people ship the original roommates together, but to be honest, I ship these people and their nobodies together a lot more because there's some good vibes.
Well, Sarah, I mean, if you ship them with your nobodies, or with their own nobodies, that's basically like Tumblr self-cess, and we're towing a dangerous line here.
Well, I had re-listened to our previous
You're
episodes.
slurring this anime, Sarah.
I had listened to our previous episodes, and I think it was either the last episode or the one before that where you did Google Natsuki Satsuki's fan art. I'm putting this on you for introducing it into UtaPri first.
That's fair. You know what? I think I will take credit for the Wanslerification of UtaPri. It was all me. I did it. I did it. Ship these boys with themselves.
But anyways, they...
My throat hurts now.
Anyways, they are practicing for their stage play, and they're like, well, hey, this is actually a perfect opportunity because we're getting that duet project with Haruka. Maybe we could put the song in the show. Works out great, right? So like they start like concepting the song, and then like Ren's just like, well, maybe I could just do like the wind fire thing, and then Van's like, nah,
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire, and then
plus one more
one.
song reference. Let's go.
And then Van's like, nah, like everyone be expecting that. We gotta like do something even crazier, like go really out there. Like it'll be great. We'll like shock the audience. They'll love it, right? And like he and like Haruka like start like really getting into like new potential. And Ren's like, do I really just like pick the boring shit? Like, is that just what everyone does? Right? And then he also, like, again, Ren also gets super jealous of Van because he's the one who was always flirting with Haruka, right? So after practice, he's like, what are you doing talking to my girlfriend, right? And then Van's like, well, I think she's cute too, and you're not actually dating, so maybe I'll sweep her off her feet. And they're like, hey, how about this? Maybe whoever does the best at acting will win Haruka's heart.
Good luck
Sure.
with that, boys. You got about 29 more characters for competition. Good luck with that one, boys.
They have practice. At practice, like, Van is very much like reading flat. He's like, oh, I am an attorney. Here's how I do. And Ren's like, oh, he won't be any competition at all. Whatever, right? So he tells his Starish boys about how, like, Van kind of sucks at acting. And Otoya's like, well, that's weird because I've always heard that he's, like, really, really, really good at acting. Are you sure? And Ren's like, whatever. It's fine. Next day, it's time for filming. And guess who is really, really good when he needs to be? It's Van. And he goes in, he's like, just like, yes, the case is... Star, can you please tell me some things that a attorney would... Or an attorney would
objection.
say?
Objection.
Well, he's not the defense attorney. He's the prosecutor, so...
Oh, well,
Van's the prosecutor.
Prosecutors can also say objection.
That's true, they can.
They yell objection at each other over and over again, and then they start making out.
Okay, yeah, that's probably what happens. Basically, so Van starts, like, doing his spiel, and, like, Ren gets, like, so, like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting this, and he gets, like, swept up, and, like, he's like, I'm not sure. And, like, the director's like, oh, you did that line perfectly, because I guess that the character is supposed to be, like, nervous at that time. He's like, oh, you really got this. You guys are both great actors. And Ren's like, oh shit, it really was not me acting. I just was really flustered there, right? So then Ren starts getting, like, super serious before the next filming. He's, like, studying all his lines. He's like, I gotta, like, not just be taking things for granted. I can't take Haruka for granted. I can't take music for granted. I always was like, I'm this pretty saxophone boy. And, like, in previous seasons, we had gotten how, like, Ren's like, whatever, I don't care. I don't care about music. I was forced to do this. So now it's, like, his, like, really hard going into, like, the... I want to be an idol, I have competition, and now I'm going to take it seriously, but, like, for myself, not just because other people are telling me to, right? And then it is time for the big scene filming day. We had a lot of montages about them practicing acting, but their final scene is, like, the big scene. It's in the courtroom, and... they go in, they both, like, have it on Haruka, and they're like, watch us. We'll show you who's best at acting, right? And so they start their acting. Again, Van is really good, and then he goes into a special technique, which he's apparently really good at ad-libbing lines. Oh. And the director's like, oh yeah, that ad-lib is way better than the script I wrote. And then Ren, who has studied his lines so good, is like, oh, but I can ad-lib back, and he objections back prosecutor style words. Prosecutor words. And, you know, they end up making out, etc., etc. So later on, they're like, after the recording, like, the director's like, that was better than I ever imagined. And, like, they're still obviously making out in the corner. And they're like, oh, yeah, there's no winners or losers here. There's only...
That's what happens in every Ace Attorney game. Did you know?
To my knowledge, yes.
Yeah,
From what I've heard.
You've played at least some of them, haven't you? I thought I lent them to you.
You did lend them to me. And to my memory, that is what happened. I'm pretty sure.
Something unnecessary feelings.
But unfortunately, we do have some forced heteronormativity Otome game, which is afterwards, Van goes on the roof and he's like, hey, Haruka, I've been in love with you ever since I heard the first song you wrote for the UtaPri Awards. And then Haruka's like, I'm really focused.
That's called a parasocial relationship, and it's not healthy.
Well, she's really like, I'm really focused on my career right now, and music's the only thing I care about. Okay, bye.
Get his ass! Get his ass!
And then afterwards, Ren shows up and he's like, what were you doing talking to Haruka? I heard all of that. And he's like, well, she turned me down anyways. And then Ren's like, well, yeah, she kind of turned me down a long time ago too, but I just want her to be happy, so I'm just going to sing the music she writes as best I can. And they both promise...
You go first. Sorry.
They both promise to just be good at singing together.
I am kind of like, I know it's Otome game nonsense bullshit because like, oh, well, if she picks one person, then it devalues all the other characters. I'm kind of headcanoning Haruka as aromantic now.
I
it's like,
love
hell
that.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Her only love is music.
Like,
I agree.
Her only love is music. And she's just like, yeah, all these boys keep throwing themselves at me. But it's just like, I just want to write songs.
It's like, it's just too much to think about.
It's like, yeah.
Love her.
I kind of love that. I kind of love that, actually.
And then we get Van and Ren's song. It's very jazzy. We get our brass and our saxophone because, again, Ren's our sexy saxophone guy. It's called Lovely Eyes. It's they're great singing together because, you know, they're prosecutors who love each other and make out. Episode 7.
Them bitches gay.
Them
Good for
bitches
them.
gay. Okay, so episode 7. This is our Natsuki/Satsuki, because these two guys, episode with Nagi. So Nagi is our Heaven's boy who just like is normal, small. Well, not normal. He's just like the small, cutesy one, right?
We can't have a second normal one.
There's no normal. I promise none of these other guys are normal. So Nagi is like very like, I'm the cutest in the world. Ooh, woo, right? So he has like kind of like, it's like kind of blonde, but it's like the pinkish blonde hair. And he has like the pinkish yellow eyes. And he's just like very like, ooh, woo, I'm so cute. Ooh, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, ooh, woo. So,
I'm a cute little cute boy. I'm an idol.
Chorist. So then we have their meeting with Haruka about what their duet song's going to be like. And Nagi's like, so my only preference with whatever you write for us, Haruka, is I want to make sure that you show off how cute I am, no matter what. That's so important to me. Natsuki, what do you think? And Natsuki's like, I don't care. I'm just happy to have some work and work with Haruka. It doesn't matter. I'm a golden retriever boy.
A woof.
And then Nagi's like, and again, he's not Nagi Eilish 7. This one's a uwu cute Nagi, right? Very different.
I like how Heavens has 2 boys that have the same name
right?
as Eilish 7 boys.
They do.
And we're smacking them both in a row, 1-2 punch.
So he's like, well,
I just pictured Nagi doing the ooh woo voice, and I think my soul crumpled a little bit inside.
ooh woo. Anyway.
Ooh woo.
Anyways, so he's like, well, like, okay, sure, yeah, I'm happy to sing too, but like, I want to show off my strengths. You know what? How about this? What if we just show off how good we are, how cute I am, and how talented you are? We can both play instruments. Like, I know you play viola now, but I also know that you used to be a child prodigy who played violin. So why don't you play violin and I play viola, and we have a duet in our song, and it'll be so good. And then, Natsuki is like, oh, I actually really only play viola right now. I quit playing violin. And then Nagi's like, well, we can't both play viola because that would kind of suck as a duet. Why'd you quit anyways? You were like really good. And then Natsuki's like, huh, why did I quit? I can't remember. And then he reaches up, grabs his glasses, and rips them off. And he's like, shut up, little punk. He's like, don't bring these memories out of Natsuki or I'll fucking kill you. And he storms off. And then Nagi's like, what the fuck was that?
I'm assuming direct control.
Yeah. So basically, Haruka is like, hey, what the fuck did you do there? And Satsuki, who is controlling Nagi, is like, I kind of took over because some bad shit was going to happen, because if Natsuki remembers his painful memories, which we had talked briefly about before, which is, I guess he had a violin teacher that stole his song, whatever the fuck that means, and it, like, traumatized him, and if he remembers it, he'll just be sad forever, somehow, right?
Oh.
It's his painful past. And so he's like, well, I promise I won't stay in direct control for now, but I'm going to be watching closely. And if that little punk tries to pull any more shit out of Natsuki, I'm coming back for good, right? And Haruka's like, okay, bye, right?
Bye.
Later, Shio, Natsuki's roommate, is like, oh, hey, how'd it go with Shion? And he's like, yeah, Shion was really cute and stuff. And then there was like, I just don't remember what happened in the middle. Like, I just ended up here and I don't know why. And then she was like, oh, huh, that's funny, huh?
Yeah, I have no idea why that would be a thing.
Then next day it's practice time, and Natsuki and Haruka walk in, and Nagi is playing his viola because, again, he plays viola. He wanted to have Natsuki play violin with him. And he's like, hey, did you hear my viola right now? Did you think more about doing the duet? And then he's like, and just to convince you more, I brought this violin from my music teacher. Why don't we play it together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Natsuki's like, I don't think I can play violin. And then Nagi's like, why the fuck do you think you can't play? Did you forget how to play violin? Just like you forgot about that weird He's like, you forgot how to play violin? Like, what the fuck? Like, next thing you're going to tell me is you forgot about that weird performance where you, like, interrupted Hayato and sang on stage. And Natsuki's like, what are you talking about?
Oh.
And then then Satsuki assumes direct control, takes off his glasses. He's like, what the fuck did you just say, little punk? Right? And
I'll have you know.
I graduated from the top of my class in the Marines. And Nagi is like smirks and he's like, I knew it. It's good to see you, whoever the fuck you are. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now tell me, and he looks at Satsuki and Haruko like, tell me what the fuck is going on. And then Satsuki, sorry, evil twin, Jekyll and Hyde, is like,
Natsuki.
not Natsuki, is like, fuck you. And he like storms out of the room and pushes him away. And Haruka's like, okay, I'll be back, bye. Right? And so like he goes to Starish and he starts like yelling at everyone and causing a ruckus. Like, I was trying to protect Natsuki and now you're gonna have to deal with me instead. And like Shio and the others who all know about this are like trying to grab glasses to put on Natsuki because that's how he transforms back into Mr. Hyde or Dr. Jekyll from Mr. Hyde.
Of course.
However, fuck. So they put glasses on him and they're like, phew, it's okay. And then like he just, like, with the glasses on, glares up at Haruka like, can't get rid of me that easy, bitch. So, apparently, having glasses on Natsuki does not immediately get rid of Satsuki when the situation is intense enough. And Satsuki's like, hey, this is your last shot. If you don't protect him, I'm just going to be back for good. This is your last shot. And then Shio's like, well, if you feel like you have to protect Natsuki, like, you say you're doing it to protect him and you know him better than all of us. Well, if you feel like you need to protect him, you obviously don't know him very well at all because he's not someone who needs to be protected. Like, at least maybe when he was a kid, but not anymore. I've known him our entire life, and that's not how it is, right? He's like, plus, in addition to everything, like, you're saying you're protecting him, but honestly, Natsuki's the one who protects us a lot. Like, he's always looking out for us. He's really strong. And, like, he has our back and we have his back. Like, we're not going to let some bad shit happen. And even if trauma comes up from the past, like, we'll work through it together like healthy adults instead of compartmentalizing it, right? And he's like, here, if you really, really think you know better than me, Satsuki, who is Natsuki, you have one last shot. And she was like, just watch. Just like, we have our Song Festa, like their weekly TV program. He's like, just listen to what Natsuki has to say at Song Festa, okay? So they have their Song Festa recording, and like someone's like, hey, Natsuki, you're having your duet project with Shion. How's it going? And it's just like kind of like a thing where Natsuki's like, well, it's going good. Like, we've had our own ups and downs, but like, I have my Starish boys and they're my best friends, and I have strength in my music and all of my fans, and I'm so happy, and I know no matter what happens, it'll come out great. And then Satsuki is watching from away and he's like, oh shit, maybe Shio is right a little bit, huh? So later on, after that interview, Natsuki, again, it's too confusing because it's like basically two boys, which just adds to the number of boys we have.
There's just one more boy.
Too many boys. So
too many boys.
later, Natsuki goes up to Haruka and he's like, "So there's a lot of stuff I don't remember from our practice, but like I actually did like the idea that Nagi said about me playing violin and him playing viola, and like." There's, for some reason, whenever I think about just like the concept of me playing violin, it makes me like a little bit sad. He's like, and I have no idea why. Like, I don't know why.
It's like I have
sad.
Repressed trauma or something.
But he's also like, but like, whatever that reason is, like, I'm sure I can get past it because of everything that made me who I am today. And like, I am who I am because Starish is there with me. And then Satsuki is like, continues to look on like, oh, maybe he is okay without me, actually.
Oh.
Later at practice, we get Natsuki and Nagi back together, and Natsuki walks in. He's like, hey, I thought about it. I talked to Haruka about it. I think you're right. Let's play violin. I'll play violin. You play viola. It'll be great. And then Nagi's like, okay, yeah, sure. You think it'll be great, but what does he think? And Natsuki's like, who? Whomst? And then later, Satsuki comes out and he's like, fuck, everyone keeps talking to Natsuki about me. This is like the most annoying thing ever, right? And he like is like furious, and he's in like the courtyard of Saotomi Productions. And then Ice shows up and he's like, hey, you look like Natsuki, but you're definitely not Natsuki. You must be his alter ego. So why do you keep coming out? And do you think that it's something that like is okay? And then Satsuki's like, I'm just coming out to protect Natsuki. And I said, well, according to my calculations, beep boop, beep boop, boop, I think Natsuki's going to be okay without you. And Satsuki's like, oh.
GTFO, alter ego.
I'll think about it, right? And then he goes over to, like, he's just, like, thinking about, like, if he should continue this or whatever. And he, like, is walking along, like, the Pride and Prejudice Lake area, and he stumbles on Haruka. And she's, like, working on music for his and Nagi's duet. And she's, like, all chilly because she's, like, wearing a T-shirt. And then he, like, takes off his jacket and puts it on Haruka. And Haruka's like, oh, hey, that's really nice of you. He's like, she's also like, Satsuki, like, I can tell it's you. You don't even have your glasses on right now. But, like, what you just did is something that Natsuki would do. And she's like, but, you know, that's not really a surprise because, I mean, you are Natsuki. Like, you're an alter ego, but you're still the same person. And, like, your strength is his strength. Like, you're the same. And, like, you just gotta think about the fact that both of you make up the one person who is Natsuki, right? And it's okay. And then Satsuki's like, yeah, I guess there are things we have in common, but, like, honestly, I'm really afraid of this project because, like, what if when Natsuki plays his violin, he goes down this deep, dark hole that happened that, like, created me in the first place when his violin teacher betrayed his trust, right? And she's like, well, maybe he created that back then to protect himself, but he's also a person now who does not need that alter ego to protect himself. He can protect himself on his own because I know him. I know how strong he is and all the trials he and Starish have overcome. And honestly, I think you know that too because you're the same person, and the fact that you're even questioning this means that deep down inside you both know what the right thing to do is, right? And then he's like, you know, Haruka, you're right. I've been thinking about this. I know that Natsuki really does have what it takes to be okay on his own with these repressed memories. I just need you to promise that you and the boys will always be there to protect him if he needs it. And Haruka's like, 100%. We promise, right? And he's like, okay, thank you, Haruka. And then he flies off into the sunset, right? Into a dream space. Kind of like in like Evangelion at the end, you know, like that weird, like just like beach scene. So we're at like the end of Evangelion, and both Natsuki and Satsuki are there, and they're talking to each other. And Natsuki's like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. I had a feeling that you existed because of all this weird shit. Thank you for protecting me all this time. And Satsuki's like, are you sure you can handle it? Are you sure you can handle all this on your own, these repressed feelings, all the sad stuff that's happened? And Natsuki's like, I'm okay. Yes, I can handle it. Thank you for protecting me. And Natsuki's like, okay. And Satsuki's like, okay, I will go to sleep now. But you'll always have me because we're the same person. And then he disappeared. Right?
Oh.
And then the next day, alarm goes off. Then Natsuki wakes up and he's not wearing his glasses, and his roommate Shio starts freaking out like, oh no, you're not wearing your glasses. But then he's just like, ooh, golden retriever. And he's like, no, I'm okay. I'm good now, right?
I'm normal.
I am not adult. Well, he's very, very golden retriever still. He's not Matthew.
I'm not that normal, but I am normal.
So then he goes to practice and he's like, hey, Nagi, sorry for all that weird shit. Got that resolved. Let's practice. And then they have their song, which is indeed a violin viola duet, which kind of is like a little bit like it's jazzy. It's not like classical. And then there's like unexpectedly a Halloween theme to it. Sure. But that
must have aired in October.
It must have, but that's how it resolves. And now our last full season of UtaPri, this boy no longer has an alter ego, thank God.
Oh, the evil has been defeated.
The evil has been defeated. Episode 8. This is our second to last of the iDOL or the I was going to say iDOL 7 of the Starish boys and their alter egos. So our second to last. This one is Masato and Kira. So basically, both of them are working together. They both are getting along really well. They have very similar personalities, which is serious, rich Japanese boys, Chihayas, right? So maybe he is the third Chihaya.
Oh, now there's 4 Chihayas.
Now there's 4 Chihayas.
Well, Kira doesn't have blue hair, though.
He does not have blue hair, but he has the personality.
I feel like the blue hair is an important Chihaya
You're right. Maybe he's just a Dia.
What's Chihaya backwards? I'm gonna write it down.
And so they like are practicing and they're like, wow, we really get each other. And they start like talking about their backgrounds. And apparently both of them come from really rich families that have like old money Japanese families. What is Chihaya backwards?
Ayaka.
That's who he is. Well, he's the nobody. He's Chihaya's nobody.
Oh, so we need to have Chihaya anagrammed, but with an X in it.
Yes, that's what we
Give
need.
me a minute. Give me a minute.
Oh, God.
This is going to take me a bit. Tell me about the episode.
Okay, I'll tell you about the episode.
I'm sorry if I go quiet for a little bit. I'm having major brain cell moment right now.
I completely understand. So they start like talking about their background, and apparently they come from like these really old, really rich Japanese families. And actually, their families know each other. He's like, oh, your last name. Are you from this family that works with my family? And the other guy is like, oh, yeah, we definitely are like both heirs to like our family whatevers. And then Kira's like, well, that's so crazy that your family's also cool with you being an idol. And Masato's like, actually, yes.
Yachiksa!
Yachiksa! I agree. Yachiksa is true.
Yachiksa!
Oh my God.
That's his nobody name.
I love it.
Kira? No. Yachiksa!
Yachiksa. So Kira's like, yeah, it's like wild that we both have approval from our families to be idols.
What the fuck did you just call him?
Yachiksa is like...
Yeah!
And then Masato says, well, actually, I don't have approval from my family. Oh, sad, right?
Oh, man.
And then that night, while he's thinking about like the fact that they're so similar and yet so different, him and Yachiksa.
Yes. That's a Yachixah, by the way, if you were curious about the spelling. Yachiksa.
Yachiksa. Masato gets a call from home and they're like, hi, young master. Your father has fallen ill. Please come to Tokyo immediately, right? And Masato like texts Yachiksa.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
We've renamed half of Heavens at this point.
Yeah.
Between AG is Matt, HE is Ezekiel.
And Yachiksa.
We just need to come up with like other names for the rest of them, and then all the Heavens fangirls are gonna be very mad at us.
I don't think
You'd be like, just call them their names! And we're were like,
Yachiksa.
Yachiksa.
So he goes to fly off on the helicopter that Mari's dad owns to go see his family. So specifically, Ren, his roommate, is like, this feels like it's gonna be a bad thing because I know his dad, because they're both also rich boys. He's like, I can't see this going well, right? Anyways, he ends up at his family's like estate in Kyoto, and he walks off, and there's like a horde of butlers and maids, and they're like, welcome back, young master. And then they're like, we're so glad you came back because you wanted to be the family heir officially. And Masato's like, I never said that. I want to be an idol, actually. But
I want to be an idol boy.
But like he like feels like he's like internally saying this, but like he looks at everyone like all beaming and happy, and he like is just like quiet, like, yeah, happy to be back too, everyone, right? So then he goes to his dad's like hospital bed, but apparently his dad was like briefly ill, but he's like on the road to recovery and he's okay. And he's like, hey dad, what's this about me becoming a family heir? And then the dad's like, well, I told you back in season 1 that you had 1 year to be an idol, and it's been a year, time's up. Welcome back home, kid.
Oh, shit.
And Masato's like, but this is like a really important time for my idol group. I can't leave now. I mean, I could be the family heir after that, maybe. And dad's like, okay, it's an important time now, but like, when will it stop being important time? Like, the sooner you cut that tie, the better off your Starish boys are going to be. Otherwise, they're going to be hanging on. You're just going to be letting them down at worse and worse times. So call them and quit now, right? And then Masato's like, I don't know how to speak up to my dad. What? And then dad said, plus, you can't leave now because you say it's important for whatever, UtaPri, but what about your family? Don't you care about your family? Because we have the Crimson Leaves Banquet, which I guess is a yearly thing for all of the family's rich people connections. And it is in 4 days, and I can't go because I'm on a hospital bed right now, so I need you as my heir to be there in my stead. And Masato's like, okay, dad. Right?
Okay. I don't want to be a rich boy. I want to be Adaru.
I don't want to be a rich girl. No. See,
I wasn't going to make that reference. It's like, Sarah will do it.
Fiddler on the Roof is who we are.
I've never seen that play. Film?
Musical? Well, I mean, I think there's a film of it, but it's a musical. But either way, he does go back to like the place where he like was trained on piano by like the family housekeeper. He just like sad pokes at his piano, and family housekeeper's back comes up and he's like, hey, I have a feeling you didn't actually like want that conversation to end the way it did. And he's like, no.
He's like, yeah, no shit.
He's like, no, I actually really want to be an idol. And he's also like, you know, it used to be like I had to deal with all this family pressure, and playing piano was like my only escape from that awful world. And I didn't mean to come back and be a family heir this time, and I don't want to quit Starish. I just don't know how to speak up to my father, right? And he's also, and it's not just like because his dad's intimidating, but it's also like his dad's like, well, if you don't become the family heir, think about like all of these housekeepers. They're just going to be upset, and you're going to put them out of work, and like you'll ruin everything, right?
Like, you can keep them employed even if I'm not at home.
But like Butler guy's just like, follow your heart, young heir Sama, right?
Heir Sama.
Meanwhile, Kira / Yachiksa meets with Ren because they both are, you know, old money guys, and they both are like, hey, Masato hasn't come home, even though it was only supposed to be a day-long thing. We're kind of worried. What should we do? And then Kira's like, specifically, like, I feel like even though we seem very similar and we were on the same vibe when we practiced that one time, I feel like there's something in Masato's heart that wasn't able to sing fully. And I think that has to do with his family and what's going on there. And my guess is he's just not sure if he made the right choice to be pursuing music, because I heard about the fact that like his family doesn't approve, and I don't think he's quite ready to have this duet with me. We need to go confront him, right? And then it is the day of the Crimson Leaves Banquet, and like basically all of the guests and all the butlers are like, wow, Masato, we're so thankful that you decided to be the heir for good. And Ren and Yachixia / Kira show up.
You should probably just call him Kira. He's Yachixa in our heart. We know that's like his true name. But my friends call me Kira.
His friends call him Kira. They're both representatives for their family, which is why they're allowed to be there, because they're rich boys. And they're like, hey, do you want to be an idol or do you want to be an heir? And Masato's like, I want to be an idol, but I can't say no to
sing. Stop that. There'll be no singing while I'm here.
So then they're like,
that's a Monty Python reference. We are just pulling them all out of our sleeves
this
today.
Is what happens when we do UtaPri.
God, the chaos.
Then they're like, they're like, well, if you just want to sing, does that mean you talked through everything with your dad? And he's like, no. Whenever I try to talk to my dad, I just like freeze up. And then they're like, hey, here's the thing. The reason why you're freezing up is because you're not putting in 100% of your conviction in it. I know you. You are someone who, back in episode 2, Tokia said, put all your conviction behind everything. So I know you have that in you. You can do it.
That was exposited at me a couple episodes ago, so I know that it's true. The directors wouldn't have written it in otherwise.
And then he also brings up, like, remember back in season 1 where I was, like, flip-floppy, like, didn't care about music at all, and you told me that, like, you quit, like, you left your family behind to pursue music and I needed to pursue it 100%. Well, I'm at 100% right now, and you're the one who convinced me, so I know you can, like, defend yourself on it, right?
Don't half-ass 2 things. Whole-ass 1 thing.
Exactly. And then Kira says, like, yeah, you gotta confront your dad or you won't be able to sing, like, freely from your heart.
Confront him with your whole ass.
With your whole ass. And then he's like, you know, you said you're lucky that I had permission from my family. Well, here's the thing. I didn't start out with permission from my family. I fought tooth and nail for that permission. And I know we're so similar. I know you can fight tooth and nail for it too. You got this. Just show them what you really want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, here, to inspire you. And he hands him an iPod, because this show came out in 2015. And
gotcha.
He's like, here is our song. Listen to it. And he listens to it on his earbuds. And he's like, I am inspired. I will sing this song with confidence and I'll show my dad my true soul.
I'm gonna bust into my dad's hospital room and sing it at him.
But before he can do that, his dad actually busts into the banquet and is like, hi everyone, I am off my hospital bed and I'm here to announce Masato is my official heir. And then Masato is like, no, dad. Music plays. And he starts singing his song with Kira.
Yeah, I called it.
Then there's
he knows it after hearing 15 seconds of it on an iPod.
Oh yeah, they're because they transport themselves into the idol dimension to sing their little funky song. And again, both Masato and Kira are very like traditional old money families, so it has like a lot of Japanese motifs in the tunes.
Is there a shamisen in it?
There is not in this one. There's piano because they both play piano though. And then he looks at his dad, like, directly in his eyes. Because up until now, he's been, like, averting his eyes when his dad's like, you're going to be the heir. And he's like, oh, I guess so, right? But, like, he looks straight at his dad's eyes. And he's like, music used to be my escape. But I'm not going to let it be my escape anymore. I'm not going to be pulled away from it. It's going to be my life, not my escape. And then dad's
I'm not going to play by your dad's rules.
And dad's like, well, are you prepared to be disowned by your family for this, for music? And Masato's like, I am prepared, like straight in his eyes. And his dad's like, well, leave and never come back again. But like, like he says it, but like you could tell he's like kind of proud in the way he says it. Like he's like, oh yeah, Masato knows what he wants, and he said it to me like a samurai. So then at the end, Masato's just like, thanks, Dad. And he and Ren and Kira leave. And like they both talk about, or they all three of them start talking about how good that song was and how like they're going to go so far with it. And then meanwhile, we cut to Dad, and he's just like talking with the butler, and he's like, sucks. Like he's talking with the butler. It's like, that was the first time that my son looked at me like directly in the eye and said what he wanted. I know he's going to go far with what he chooses to do. So it's like kind of a good ending, even though it's a sad ending.
Yeah.
All right. Episode 9 is actually the beginning of a mini arc before our trip.
Episode 9. We're 2 hours in.
Oh my God. Well, because again, the first freaking hour, we're describing the 10,000 boys in the show.
That, and also we have made so many fucking jokes.
Many references. However, episode 9 and 10, so this is our mini arc. This was actually, Sarah thoughts, these were both really good episodes.
Oh, whoa.
Like, I actually genuinely enjoyed them. Actually, it's like 9, 10, and part of 11. Or actually, definitely 9, 10, and 11. I'm looking through my notes. They're very good episodes. They're also 100% very strongly Cinderella Girls Uzuki episodes.
Is Otoya the Uzuki?
Yeah.
He's gonna have a little lack of confidence moment.
Yeah. So it's very good
boy,
and very
buckle
solidly in
up.
the same way. So be ready for the emotions, right?
Oh boy.
So it is Otoya time, and he has his duet project with Ezekiel.
Fuck you, Ezekiel.
So here's the thing about Aichi though, is he looks like evil CEO, but he's not CEO. He's just like really fucking intense all of the time. Like they meet up to sing, and he's like, our song will like be the greatest thing ever done, and people will like take over people's minds with the beauty of our music. Like very like, okay, buddy. All right, back off a second, right? He like comes on like very hard to Otoya. He's like, it is fate that we are to sing together. Our voices will be intertwined in the heavens. And like Otoya's like, okay, sure. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, wow, I don't know why people are shipping Otoya and Tokyo. The fanfic of these boys must be so spicy. Because this guy is so spicy.
Again, you are one slurring this anime.
And so like they start like singing, and they start practicing their lyrics, and Aichi keeps being like, no, this isn't good enough. We need music that'll like pierce the souls of our fan and ascend to a higher plane. And then Otoya is like, I'm gonna do my best. Meanwhile, Haruka's like being more and more challenged, because like she'd come back with like, hey, is this good enough, Aichi? And Aichi's like, no, throw it away. We won't be able to show our true selves with that song, right? Meanwhile, Aichi is having his own stuff behind the scenes, where his dad keeps being like, hey, Aichi / leader of heaven / intense son, not normal son. I need to make sure that you are using this duet project to crush your competition. Just like make Starish like tremble in their boots and fail. And then Aichi's like, Daddy, I just want to make the best song ever. I do not care. Right?
Yes, Papa.
Well, like that's the thing is Dad's like, hey, crush Starish. And Aichi's like, no, I don't want to crush Starish. I want to crush the souls of my fans. Right?
Damn, dude.
Anyways, Otoya, meanwhile, is just like, he's like nervous about how intense Aichi fucking is, but also he's like, I'm kind of excited because like Aichi wants to write the best song ever, and like I've never been pushed this hard before. I'm gonna try really, really hard to do good. And then like he's also like playing like the song that Haruka wrote for him back in season 1. He's like, this song really inspired me back then. I can't wait to like make a song like that like really changes someone's heart. It'll be okay. Then we have the next practice, and Haruka goes to both of them, and he's like, hey, so is this good enough? And she plays like a little ditty on the piano, and Ichi is like, oh yes, this is the perfect song, the best one ever, our souls will become intertwined. And Otoya is like just shocked, speechless, like, wow, Haruka, I didn't know you could write like that. Like, I always knew you were talented, but holy shit, right? And so like they practice singing it, but like every time Otoya sings it, Ichi's like, no, you have to go further. We have to like work on the lyrics right away. We're gonna like do it like the hardest shit ever. Like your lyric writing and my voice are gonna be intertwined together. We're gonna do so good. Now kiss me, you fool. Blah 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
Like he's just very intense. Ichi is. He's just like
Ezekiel. Oh, Ezekiel, you're so silly.
Just like 100%, like very solidly, like everything you do, Otoya, we will do together. We will become one soul with our, because we have both the deep feeling in our hearts that will shock our fans, right? And so Otoya is also just excited too, because he's like, wow, Haruka wrote the best song ever. I'm going to go work on lyrics right away. And so he gets like really engrossed in lyric writing, and he'll like write something and he'll bring it to Ichi, and Ichi's like, it's good, but it's not good enough because you're not bearing your soul to everyone. You're not showing like your true deep dark depths of your immortal soul or whatever, right? And so like Otoya like is like, okay, I'll scrap it. I'm gonna work on something else, and he'll try it again. And Ichi's like, no, you have to show who you really are inside. You have to take off your mask, or we'll never like be able to sing together freely. And then Otoya like starts having like flashbacks to his tragic backstory, which again, we know he's an orphan, right? But he was before. He's like, oh yeah, I don't really think about it. I had a happy childhood in the orphanage. It's fine. But now he's like having these flashbacks to like this like burning sunflower field and a woman who has a braid of hair over one shoulder, and you're like, uh-oh. And we continue to have like a thing where he's like starting to like just be like more and more like Ichi has kind of like completely brainwashed him in his own way, where Otoya is just obsessed thinking about this song and being like, Ichi says he knows me better than anyone else. He says he can see my true soul, but he says I'm not writing what my true soul is. What is my true soul? Who am I? Like, who am I really, right? And so he starts like wondering like who he really is. Like, and he like starts asking the other boys, and he's like, hey, who am, like, what am I? And Reiji, like, they're all like, oh, you just have your happy smile. You're just the happy guy who's always happy all the time. And he's like, is that my true, that's my true self, right? That's who I have to be. And then like Otoya's like, so am I only my true self when I'm smiling? And then he starts getting like really dark about it. He's like, I guess it's my smile that makes me my true self. But he's like, and I have to smile, right? Right?
Oh, yep, there it is. There it is. I can smell it coming. I smell it on the breeze.
Meanwhile, he goes over to like Ichi's house basically to write, and Ichi is just very intense all the time because that's who he is. Like, oh yes, this is beautiful, this is wonderful, I can feel your true self coming out. And Otoya is just like getting more and more like spiraling, being like, I don't know who I am. People say it's my smile. Is it really my smile? Do I have to smile all the time? What about when I can't smile? Does that mean I'm being fake to my fans?
Literally just Uzuki.
It's just Uzuki, right?
This is just Uzuki again.
And then like Haruka starts getting messages from Ichi like, hey, send the composition as soon as you're done. Just send it over, right? And Otoya is just like working intensely, and Haruka's like, well, I guess for these boys I'll do anything, right? And then Ichi's like, I have this music from Haruka. He's like, listen to it, Otoya. It will awaken the true self within you. And he like plays the music out loud for Otoya, and then Otoya's eyes, which were already like losing their dim, go completely dark. And he's like, my true self, right?
I walk the lonely
Right?
road, the only road that I have ever known.
And then then like they're like writing together, and like Otoya is breaking down like, I thought my true self was my smile, but I keep having these like trauma flashbacks. And Ichi's like, just embrace those trauma flashbacks. So that's your real self. Your true self is what made you become who you are. We're so intense. Both of us are so intense. That's why I want to make out with you all the time. And then the lights go out because it starts thunderstorming, because it always thunderstorms in anime when intense shit happens.
Oh, yeah.
And Ichi's like, this is perfect. It is the perfect time to write because the darkness outside will reveal the true darkness in your heart.
Good God, sir. Calm down,
And
sir.
then-
This is a Wendy's.
And then he like actually kabedons Otoya, like bump, and leans over into him and like comes
God.
in close. And he's like, our souls are one. I'm the only one who really understands you, like grabbing his face. And you're like, okay, dude. Okay, Otoya's nobody.
Okay.
And then he's like, and I can show I'm the only one who understands you. I have this file on you I got. And he pulls out this file with Otoya's backstory.
Oh,
He's like,
Lord.
I looked it up because I know we're the same and I'm obsessed with you, basically, right? And he's like, I know that after your parents died, you adopted, and then you lived here in this beautiful field of sunflowers, which we had flashback to like in this episode and previous seasons. And I know what happened is that woman ended up dying and you ended up being a double orphan. And that true darkness is in your soul. And you've been using your smile as a mask to cover up the darkness that is inside, just like me, right? And then he's like, but I know the true you, and you're just someone who is starving for love but has never been able to achieve true love because you are afraid to put your true self out there, because you know when you put your true self out there, there's a risk that they will just disappear like everyone else who has disappeared in your life, right? And then he throws like a painting of a field of sunflowers in the file. He's like, look at your soul burn, right? And then he like goes in more and he's like, I know that your smile is just a fake smile. It's just a mask to try to make sure you don't push anyone away. You're afraid to cry or break down in front of your friends because you know that they would realize that your mask is just a fake smile. I am bringing you into your inner turmoil where you are just showing your true self, right? And so he like goes into like this like dream space where like each of his friends are like, oh, I totally knew your smile was fake, Otoya. Like, that's not who you really are, Otoya. And like Haruka's like, I'm so disappointed in you, Otoya. Again, in this like headspace thing.
So, Sarah,
Yes.
I have a very crucial piece of information.
Yes.
There are 12 works on Archive of Our Own.
That is not enough.
That is not enough, but I'm looking through these tags and I'm like, oh.
Spicy.
Ew.
It's spicy, huh?
Ew.
There's gonna be spicy stuff in here.
Would you like to see the search page?
Oh God, yes. Send it to me.
Sending it to you.
Let's see.
So we're just looking through
yes,
here.
Omega verse. 100% agree with that. Would definitely make sense.
Yeah, the first one, Omega verse. Yeah.
Ooh, unhealthy coping mechanisms. Yep. All of these are like, this is super triggering. Please read notes. Yep. Dom sub. Yep.
Abusive relationships.
Yep. Yep. Ooh, oh, and this one has some naughty words on it.
Yeah.
Anyways, yep, all this works and tracks for
Emotional manipulation.
Yep.
Extremely dubious consent.
Spicy.
So spicy.
Because anyways, continuing on this, Ichi just brought Otoya to this dark dream space. Says, like, strokes Otoya's face while Otoya's eyes are dead and is like, even though you have not found happiness, you're at least laid bare before me, and strokes his face. And he's like, now let's sing together.
Yeah,
And lightning
sing.
strikes. And then we get their PV, which is just like very intense. A lot of rock and electric and guitar, right? Like, not Otoya energy at all, right? And behind their PV, we get one of Star's favorite tropes, which is the visual image of sad scenes from your backstory on broken pieces of glass shattering.
Yes! Recast off comic.com!
Which is a great visual metaphor for the trauma inside.
Trauma! Literally my favorite shit. I do it constantly.
So good. So next we're on to episode 10. So we are in the middle of Sadatoya arc. It picks up where we left off. The Starish boys are like, we haven't heard from Otoya. We've been trying to get a hold of him. What the fuck? When in the middle of the night, Tokia gets a call from Otoya. And you're like, oh my god, Otoya, are you okay? What the fuck's going on? And then Otoya's like, hi, Tokia. I'm sorry. I can't smile anymore. I quit Starish. Bye. And he hangs up. And like Tokia tries to call him back, but his number's blocked. And Tokia's like, uh-oh, right? So they all like try to call and like all of their numbers are blocked. Haruka is like, hey guys, I got a audio file from Eiichi and Otoya. Could you listen to it? And she like plays like the song from last episode, and they're like, this doesn't sound like Otoya at all.
I was gonna say, like, cut this part out if you want, because it's very cursed. It's like, we got an audio file from Eiichi and Otoya. It's just them fucking. That can be just for you if you want. I had to say it.
Why are UtaPri episodes like this?
We can't help who we are. We can't change who we are. I'm so sorry.
And so they all start like being like, Otoya sounds so dark in his music now. And they start like putting the puzzle pieces together. Like, so like the concept of the song Haruka, this was all Eiichi's idea. Like the idea of something intense bearing your true souls, right? And also, we got the thing about Otoya saying he feels like he can't smile anymore. And then he did this weird shit. Something's going on and it's all Eiichi's fault, right?
Uh-oh, we have to kill that evil CEO. Look at him, his stupid fucking glasses. He's gotta die.
Meanwhile, Eiichi is like over it with Heavens and he's just like so happy. And like Heavens is practicing and all Eiichi can talk about during Heavens practice is Otori. And he's like, Otori has become the most perfect man ever. His soul is running amok. It's invigorating. It's beautiful, right?
God, this guy's fucking weird.
And Heavens is like, Eiichi, you okay? And Eiichi's like, I've never been more okay in my life, right?
I've never been more alive. I've brainwashed this golden retriever. Look at him. He's so fucking sad now. Yes.
Also, like, Eiichi's dad comes up, like, again, shining Otori, and he's like, good Eiichi, you destroyed Starish. And Eiichi's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't destroy Starish. I made them better than ever before because I made Otoya review his true soul, and I love him so much with my whole heart. And Raging Otori's
I made him
like,
emo.
And Raging Otori's like, okay, son, whatever. It works for me, so bye, because Otoya totally quit Starish. And then Eiichi's like, record scratch, like, wait, what? Otoya quit Starish? That was not my intention at all.
That's not what was supposed to happen.
Meanwhile, then after the Starish boys like confront Eiichi and they're like, what the fuck did you do to Otoya? And Otoya's like, I just like revealed his true self and had him understand who he really is. He's not a fake smile. He's just a man who's full of dead sunflowers and despair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Tokia's like, okay, you're a weirdo. You don't know where Otoya is either, right? And Eiichi's like, no, I actually didn't know he was going to quit Starish either. And they're like, okay, bye. Us Starish boys are going to take care of it. You just be a weirdo on your own in your own corner. And Eiichi's like, okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Otoya, And he is just like walking down the streets of Tokyo in the rain. And it's just like he's just having sad boy time. And he's just doing his boulevard of broken dreams, like, I walk my lonely road.
The only road that I have ever known.
And then like he starts like thinking about like his past and about like how his parents died and then his adoptive mother died. And he's like, well, I guess just what happens is anytime I get close with someone, they die. And it must be my fault. And I'm cursed. And people shouldn't be around me. And I can't be with Starish because they'll just die also. And everything I love just ends. And there's no point. And I'm just going to be sad forever. And I'm not going to show anyone my fake smile because, yeah, I guess I was fake smiling because I was repressing all this trauma. Right?
Mm-hmm. Fanfiction.net has exactly 3, and 2 of them are in Sarah, 2 of them are in Spanish.
God, I'm gonna get some friends to translate them for me then.
Oh,
spicy!
No, do not bring other people into this, Sarah. You can't. There's also at least one
spicy.
There is at least one on Wattpad. I don't know how Wattpad works, though. I've never read a fan fiction in my life. I don't know how to navigate these freaking websites.
Meanwhile, while Otoya is walking down a sad street, this is also where we get the part where Eiichi finds out that Raging Otori thought it was intentional, and Eiichi's like, no, it wasn't intentional. I just really am obsessed with this dude, basically, right?
Fucking yandere.
Yeah, really. Meanwhile, Starish is like, well, we need to figure out how to bring Otoya back and tell him that we love him even if he's having sad boy time, and it's okay if he can't smile in front of us, right? And so they're like, well, we have like this 5-step plan, so let's do it. So the first thing they do is they decide to first of all, they talk about like how the last few episodes they realize that, hey, a lot of stuff can really fuck with your brain, especially these heavens freaks. And we totally get it. And we
heavens freaks.
we need to show him that that's not how it always, like, it's okay. There's light outside of the storm. It'll be all right. And we get you even when you're having a hard time because we are good boys who care about each other. And so while Otoya is having a breakdown in the rain, he is near like Shibuya Square, and then there's like a TV ad, and they're like, hey, Shining Saotome Productions has a special message for you for anyone out there who's feeling sad and alone, right? And then they play one of the old Starish songs from a few seasons ago about like, you know, like, I've always been there for you and I have your back, like starting to like, he still has like the dead eyes, but like his mouth starts singing along reflexively. So like he still like whispers the lyrics alongside of it. Also like at this point I realized like just again, like these episodes are really well written because this kind of does mimic, this is my UtaPri nerd glasses coming on, but like back in season 1, we have the whole thing where Haruka, like her life changes when she saw like Hayato performing on screen, and it was like the same screen in the same location where Haruka had her life change. Otoya is seeing this happen, and I'm like, well, that's a nice parallel. And it's not like said explicitly, it's just like, oh, hey, it's the same thing. That's like very good theming. Good job, UtaPri. And then the rain stops because, again, the rain is the pain inside, but it's still cloudy. And Otoya is looking up and he's like, I can tell my boys put this message on for me, and I really want to see them, and I really want to see Starish again, but I can't see them like this. He's like, I'm not ready, but it's something I have to confront on my own, and it's something I know I can do on my own, right? So then he gets on a bus and he's like looking at the childhood pictures of his adoptive mother in the sunflower field, and he's flashing back because I guess what happened is adoptive mother died, but it was because she was sick, and you see scenes of her in a hospital. And again, you know, she's gonna like, you know, she died, but like, how did he not know with her hairstyle being like that? But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, come on, bro. The dad and my mom hairstyle.
And then he's like remembering that like on her deathbed, the mom was like talking about like, oh, Otoya, I love your smile. It's just like the sunflowers. And she's like, I promise me that like every year we're going to come back to the sunflower field and we're going to be together forever, right? Like, because the mom being like, oh, we'll be together forever. Don't worry. I won't be like your dead parents.
I'm not gonna die.
Side hair ponytail. And so then he's...
Oh, what's this? Don't ignore my hairstyle. It's fine.
And then he ends up at the sunflower field. But when he gets to the field of sunflowers, they're all dead. Because, again, this is supposed to take place in December. So it's natural that they would be dead. And he, like, walks through the unkept field. And he's like, hey, Mom, I'm back here to meet you in the sunflowers like I promised I'd do every year. And he's like kind of like almost like speaking into the abyss. And he's like, well... I'm sorry I haven't kept my promise because honestly, I have been suppressing this memory and I have been smiling just to like ignore all the bad stuff that happened. But I'm also like in like bringing back up the bad memories. I'm starting to remember the happy ones too. Like how you used to say you liked my smile because it was like sunflowers. And I always used to say that no matter what, I would smile for you. And like, I kind of just been like putting it off and like smiling reflexively and not because that's really who I am or how I feel.
Hello, operator. I'm dying. Help.
Help.
Me, star. I am dying. Help. Help. I'm on the floor.
And then like the sun, and it's like really cute because like he took like an overnight bus because he was having sad boy time in the right and it was an overnight bus. So it's like very dark twilight. And then he like looks up at the mountains and he's like, and I am remembering this now. And you know what? I am going to smile again. And it's not because I'm just suppressing memories or trying to like make things okay. I'm going to go back to my roots and I'm going to be smiling for you. He calls her like he calls her like Okasan, but it's like his adoptive mother. And then like the sun starts to like rise over the mountains and like the sunflowers are still dead, but they start like glowing. And then behind him are all of his boys because they have been summoned by his energy. Episode 11 picks up where they left off and they're all like, hey, Otoya, are you okay? We were worried about you. And Otoya like turns around and he looks at them and then he like finally smiles and he's like, I'm sorry. And Shio's like, do I have to worry about you anymore? And Otoya's like, no, I'm okay. And he shakes their hand and they were like, so you went missing, and we kind of asked around everyone, and we ended up going to that orphanage where you grew up, and the lady said you might be here, and that's like how we ended up here with you. And we
it's
want
totally
to
not teleportation powers. Don't worry about it.
But they were very much like we had a feeling you were going to be here, and we didn't want you to have to be going through like memory of your dark past like on your own. We wanted to be there as your support, and that's why we wanted to make sure all of us were here together. And then they like all like talk about like how despite their past, they're going to be able to overcome it together because they've done it with the other boys before, and we could do it for you, Otoya. Like I know last season we had the orphanage and you shared your dark story and you're like, it's okay. And we know that you probably just didn't want to worry us, but like you can worry us. Like it'll be cool. And then Otoya's like, yeah, but like there's also something I kind of realized. And honestly, it was from working with Aichi, like doing this whole thing where I used to say like, we'll be starish forever and we'll be together forever. And as long as we're together forever, we'll be okay. But he's like, but you know, like, I don't think that's true anymore. Because like, I don't think starish is going to last forever. And like the boys are shocked. Like, you don't think we're going to stay together forever? And he's like, no, I don't. Because like life happens and things happen. And like, we probably like realistically, we're not going to be together forever. But I kind of learned with like my sad boy time and honestly my intense Ichi boy time that like, even though like there's these sad things that happen, like, and I do feel like I was repressing this trauma of like, I felt like I really did feel like everything I loved eventually ended and like everyone I loved eventually left. But like, and like, that's true. Like people do eventually leave and the people I love will eventually die. So I need to not be like living in that world where I'm thinking it's all my fault and instead be like, hey, I need to live in the world where like everything's going to end and everyone's going to die. So I need to enjoy the happy times while they're here. And I want to be part of Starish while we're here. And I learned that because of my weird Ichi boy time somehow.
I mean, like, seriously, have you seen that guy? He's fucking weird.
Yeah. And he's like, and also like, he's very much talking about like, we have to have the happy moments when we're here. But like, you know, our careers might take us apart. But like, we have this part of each other. And I had like those memories of my great aunt that I suppressed that honestly I was fake smiling because I suppressed those memories. But now that I am embracing them and I'm remembering the moments when they happened, I'm able to actually be my true self for realsies. And I'm like, I wrote down notes, how very opposite Honoka of you, talking about how it's okay if you break up. That's okay.
We're never going to end. Never.
And so they're all then they all smile and laugh at each other, and they're all happy. They're like, yep, this might not be forever, but we're really happy where we are, and we're really happy we have each other because we make each other who we are, and we make each other stronger. It is really sweet. And then like we have like the rest of the episode where Otoya is okay now. He talks to Eiichi like, hey, that was really intense, dude, but like I guess somehow in your own way you got it right. And Eiichi's like, I'm just so happy we can create our beautiful music together, Otoya, because really that's all he cared about.
Creeper.
Like, he's, like, very happy Otoya is okay, and he's also very, like, he's like, oh yes, Otoya, you've reached your peak right now. Like, it wasn't even the darkness, it is who you are right now. You are shining in your true idol light. And you're like, okay, dude, very happy
Calm
for
down.
you. But then, with our heaven side of things, even though Eiichi's relieved, and honestly, the rest of Heavens are relieved because all of them have, like, formed emotional bonds with the Starish Boys, their president, Raging Otori, calls them in, and he's like, what the fuck, kids? You were supposed to crush Starish, and all you did was make them stronger. And he's
You
like,
had one job, damn it.
he's like, you're all failures, especially you, Eiichi. And then Eiichi's like, no, Dad, you're the failure.
Fuck you, Ezekiel. No, fuck you.
And that's where you get, like, the Otori backstory where, like, apparently Otori had written a song called Love is Dead, and that, like, got the top of the charts. But then after he retired, Shining Saotome wrote his single, Love Never Dies, and, like, beat him in the charts. And, like, he's been, like, trying to have this vendetta against Shining Saotome Productions ever since. And they're like, Dad, you're just afraid to admit that you lost, and that's why you're trying to force us to, like, be rivals with Starish, but we won't. Well, if that's how it is, kids, you're fired. You're not going to be in the Triple S Awards after all. You're my prisoners now, basically.
Oh, that,
Basically, so then for the rest of the time leading up to the Triple S concert, basically Heavens is officially, like, on press terms, dropped out of all the duet project stuff. They're no longer on Songfest, so the weekly TV show, and none of the UtaPri boys have heard from any of them. And they're all like, or none of the Starish boys have heard from any of them. And they're like, well, that seems like a bad thing, huh?
they drank the Kool-Aid.
I mean, we did talk about Heaven's Gate last time, which...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, they do figure out through, like, Saotome and Haruka's knowledge that basically Raging Otori is punishing them for not, like, doing his every, like, bidding, right? And so then Heavens is just, like, sitting in Raging Otori's, like, courtyard of, like, the production studio, like, because they're not allowed to leave and they're not allowed to contact the outside world, and they're just all being sad boys, and they're like, oh, maybe we should just give in to Papa's demands, or like, well, this sucks, maybe we should just, like, punch someone and break out, right? When all of a sudden Starish shows up on their roof and is like, Heavens, you challenged us before, but now it's time for us to challenge you. Do you really think you're gonna let it end like this despite that loser Raging Otori? And then, like, they throw down some sheet music and they're like, Haruka wrote this for you. We'll meet you at Triple S if you want an ass-kicking bye, basically.
Cool.
So they're, like, basically using that as a way to, like, break Heavens out of their slump, right? Episode 12. So we are in our last two episodes, and it is time for the Triple S concert.
You know what else it's time for?
What?
Cat on my lap.
Oh, cat time!
Molly's
Welcome,
here.
cat. Hello, Molly.
Hello, Molly.
So,
Purring.
by episode 12, I have definitely noticed that we are in our late UtaPri art era. Every
oh
season.
boy, is this
of
where
UtaPri.
tiny hands come in?
This is where tiny hands come in. Just like season 3, we had a whole thing where there were itty bitty tiny hands. We got the itty bitty tiny hands. It's barely animated. Like, honestly, it's mostly still frames that are like on screen for like 5 or 10 seconds and lip flaps. And it's bad because the still frames that are on screen for like 5 or 10 seconds look really shitty. Like the proportions are all over the place, which is like something you would not notice if anything was moving in the screen besides their lips. But like you really notice when it's just on screen for like 5 seconds how bad the art is. And like I'd say only the lip flaps, like it really is only lip flaps. Like there's no blinks. It's just mouth open close. Like they are short on time, this animation production agency.
Yep.
And I am overjoyed every time we get to this point in any anime season. It just fills me with so much happiness because I know these animators are not paid enough for this shit, and I know that they're just trying to get it out, but like it just is so chaotically goofy. It makes me so happy. Anyways, we get to the Triple S concert time. It is called Triple S Climax Live, is what they decided to call it.
Oh, is that?
As what they decided to call it.
Someone's been reading a whole lot of the Otoya Eichi fanfic.
And so then we have our groups walk in. We have like Quartet Night comes in, Starish comes in, and then the announcer's like, unfortunately, we have an announcement to make. And the audience is like, what's this announcement? Blah, 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 blah. And they're like, Heavens is not competing. They dropped out. And the audience is like,
they went to heaven.
They went to heaven. And then the audience is like freaking out. They're like, start chanting for Heavens. And Reiji's like, hey, announcer, so if Heaven's dropped out, there's like really no point in us having this concert because that was like the whole reason we're doing this again. So like, we're just gonna wait here till Heavens comes because we know they'll come. We already went and approached them in their courtyard tower with their music. We'll just wait, right? And then the lights go out.
The power's out.
And then you just hear Eichi's voice, and he's like, yes!
And then this bastard again.
And then Heavens comes up like out of the ground on like these rising pillars, right? And Raging Otori, because he's like in a press box and he's just smug, being like, it's fucking boys. None of them, all of them suck, including my Heavens boys. And he's like, Nani? How did they break out of their home? And then the audience goes wild. You find out, I forgot when you find out, that basically Heavens heard the music that Haruka wrote. They were so inspired. They're like, well, we'll do whatever it takes. Who cares about our president? So they ended up like convincing like basically everyone on their staff that except for Raging Otori that like, hey, we should do this concert because honestly, have you heard this song? It's a banger. We'll convince my dad anyways. And production staff is like, okay, sure.
Have you heard this track? It slaps.
All their dragons are like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like Raging Otori is about to like go out and be like, fuck these boys, I'm gonna take them down, destroy them. But when Shining Saotomi walks into the press box and is like, no, we must see how it pans out now. It's out of our hands. And so they both watch. And then we have performance time. First is Quartet Night. Like we talked about last time, where they are starting to use 3D animation a little bit more than just 2D. Actually, I would say season 4's 3D does look better than season 3. Like, it's not the best ever, but like they actually have emotions and they move like normal humans as opposed to whatever was going on in season 3, which is nice. Quartet Night's music is good. I've never been like big on the Quartet Night music. It all like doesn't feel like they really have a good vibe with each other. Like it doesn't really feel like it's on theme. Like if I hear a Starish song, it sounds like a Starish song, or Heaven song sounds like a Heaven song, but Quartet Night just sounds like UtaPri generic, right? But anyways, they do good. It's intense. There's lightning. We also get a scene where Haruka is talking to Heavens, and Heavens is like, Haruka, you wrote a great song for us. Sorry that we ghosted everyone for the last week, but we really didn't want to just give up after we heard your music. You really inspired us, right? And then we get Heavens' song. It is called Immortal Inferno. And it's very intense. There's an organ solo in it. These boys, they're so intense. They're like the unit color for Heavens is blue, and the audience is consumed in blue flames. It's Heavens. They're great. They are just intense boys with just one normal boy right there in the middle, whose normalness is weird because he's so normal. And then episode 13, our last episode. So that one ended on the Heavens concert.
Sarah.
Yes.
I think this might finally be the episode to surpass Gekidol.
Finally.
We're at 2 hours and 43 minutes without any edits.
Maybe.
The weapon to surpass Metal Gear.
So, we start off with just like some clips of last episode, just in case we forgot what those scenes were like, namely the concert scenes. And then we go to a scene with Raging Otori, and he's like talking to Shining Saotomi, being like, "Did my Heavens really sing that? Like, what the fuck? Who let them do that? Like, that's what was that?" And Saotomi's like, "No. Don't freak out. You need to listen through the end. You need to listen to my starish voice. You need to witness this entire concert. Because you know what? You're just upset that I beat you in record sales. But you know why I beat you in record sales? You wrote a song called saying love is dead. I wrote a song that says love never dies because love never dies. You were wrong, and I'll prove it to you when you watch Starish. They will rekindle your deep love of music that I know you have deep down, right?"
Fight boys.
And then he's like, "I will show you with the power of love." And he like shoots a heart beam at him, and these old men start making out. It's incredible. Anyways, it's time for and then it's time for Starish to go on. Before they go on, we do get a series of flashbacks of like all the important meet cutes over the last 3 seasons of them being in love with Haruka, because of course we do.
Yeah.
And then they sing their song. It starts kind of slow, but like they do like the whole like, you know, like Starish does like the harmonizing thing, and then they do their song, and it's kind of jazzy, and there's a lot of like solo movements, and it's like objectively the best of the 3 songs. So Haruka was definitely biased when she wrote them, because it really is the best of the 3 songs.
Well, yeah, why wouldn't she be?
And,
like, hello?
Yeah, they're her boys. And she loves her boys. Also, she's known. Tori listens to the SARS song, and like he like starts blazing, and is like, "My love for music has risen again." Then it is time for the vote from the panel, and the crowd is all like cheering for all 3 groups, while the panel is like deciding who is going to show, like, who's going to be the showcase for Japan at Triple S Superstar Sports, not Olympics. And then we also get, it's funny because like between all of these concerts in the last 2 seasons, there's a lot of cut-ins of like what the audience is thinking and reacting, but again, it's not animated. They're just static frames, and they use the same images over and over and over in the last 2 episodes. It's so funny. Like a lot of them are actually decently drawn, but it's like, okay, this is like random lady. We've seen her like 4 times in the same pose and the same expression because they're not moving. Like, incredible animators. Anyways, after a few audience cuts, we get the winner. Drumroll please, Star. And the winner is Starish! Our boys won!
The boys, they leveled up.
So all the other groups are kind of sad, but they're like talking with each other like, yeah, but Starish really did deserve to win, and we're just going to get better and we're going to improve more. And then, like, afterwards, like, they're all on stage, and the Starish boys are like, we're so pumped up. That was such a good song. We did so good. They're like, we want to keep singing. We want to sing more. And they're like, okay, everyone, let's all sing together. And then they all sing Legend Star, the title of the show, also the ending. They all sing it, but with all of the boys. And they're all singing on the stage, and eventually everyone ascends into space, into the idol dimension. The end.
Wow.
And then we do get a post-credits. The post-credits is a teaser for the movie where Haruka runs into all her boys, and they're all like, wow, we had such a great time at Triple S. You know what we want to do? We want to have a concert with all three groups for all of our fans. See you next time in the movie.
See you in the movies, kid.
Yep. So that was UtaPri. Like, at least as far as UtaPri, like, actually traditional anime seasons go, as far as I know, I think they're only going to be doing OVAs and movies from now on. UtaPri is freaking wild, y'all.
Woo! I like legitimately hurt my voice screaming multiple times during this episode.
It's so wild. Like, yes, we have our stuff where we're talking about Yaxixia and, like, making out. But, like, then there's also the Cabedons. And, like, this boy is actually a cat. Or this cat's actually a boy. Like, UtaPri is weird, y'all. And but it's also just... We were, like, again, we talked about it once we got through season 2. We were sleeping on UtaPri. If you, like, started UtaPri season... Don't watch UtaPri season 1. The only reason to watch UtaPri season 1 is just to know who all of the boys are. The rest of them get so friggin' weird, and it's so joyous. And I'm just beautiful. Heavens is great. It's even better when you think about your 4Kids dub with Matthew.
Hello, my name is Matthew. I'm normal.
What church do you go to?
Do you like Jesus?
It's just this normal 4Kids do.
Oh, God.
Anyways.
I'm going to be so excited to go back and re-listen to this episode from, like, an outsider's perspective.
Banana is perfect.
Banana is perfect. And we got Ace Attorney in there. And it was exactly as gay as the original Ace Attorney was.
Good. So, like, in summary, Uda no Prince Sama is light.
Bravo.
You're
You've
welcome.
done it, you sick son of a bitch. You've done it.
Anyways, so final thoughts. Best boy. Like, he's such an asshole, and he's so intense, but I really love Aichi, because he's so
Ezekiel?
weird. He's so weird, but, like, he's not weird in an evil way. He's just weird in the he's fucking nuts way.
He's just fucking crazy.
And, like, the show really embraces it. Like, especially when the dad's like, oh, yes, just as planned, right, son? And son's like, no, I'm just weird. And you're like, okay.
I'm just fucking crazy, man.
And dad's like, proud of you, son, for being fucking crazy. And Aichi's
Proud
just
of
like,
you,
and then he just like is like, yes, father, yes. And you're like, okay,
Yes.
you're so weird. So, anyways, Uda no Prince Sama, thank you all for joining us.
I feel like this has taken approximately half of my lifespan to record.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that we did.
I am so
'cause,
happy
like,
we did
goddamn.
too.
I was like, wow, Sarah's really going back to UtaPri again this soon. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's so perfect.
Perfect.
Again, I will be doing the movies. They might be together, they might be separate. But you all are not ready yet. I'm not ready yet because
None of us are ready yet.
I just had the soul taken out of my body for watching this and then talking about it, so I need to recover.
Mine like got yeeted out into the yard and it's still out there rolling. I'm watching it. So like, you know. Yeah.
So Star, do you want to drop any hints for future episodes?
Would you like to drop a hint? Because I think it was your idea.
So our hint for the next one is it's idol adjacent / idol in the kind of the same way your boy Kong Ming is, where there are definitely idol characters in it, but maybe not necessarily our main characters, but it's all music.
It's very much in like a similar vein to your boy Kong Ming, and it's a show that both of us have watched already.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of coming back for a rewatch as the year kind of winds down. And I'm like, it's a good show and I'm excited to rewatch it.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm ready for these vibes to enter I'm ready for the vibe to enter my body.
I guess the next spoiler is, it is not like a traditional like slice of life show either, because it takes place in the future.
The future is now.
The future is now.
And from what I remember, it gets maybe a little bit too real towards the end.
Yeah.
But it's still good.
Yeah.
You can definitely like look at this anime and be like, I know exactly what year this was created in.
Yeah. So if people want to find us on the internet, Star, where can they find us?
They can find us in all kinds of places.
Wow.
We've got a Twitter.
Whoa.
We've got an Instagram.
Whoa.
We've got a brand new YouTube channel, and YouTube finally gave us like our actual handle.
Huzzah.
So you can find us in all of those places at socialmedia.com/idoldays_pod.
Wahoo!
I have been uploading our backlog of episodes to the new, what's the word I'm looking for? The new YouTube channel. I know I'd been uploading them to my personal channel, but I decided it was better if the podcast had its own channel.
Wahoo.
So go subscribe to that. It's video versions of the podcast. It's mostly static images, but we're doing it for the YouTubes.
Yeah.
Oh, and putting something here at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what you guys our dear listeners, I want to know what your favorite Idol Days bits are so that I can edit them into short videos to put on YouTube.
Wahoo!
So drop it in our Discord, add us on socials. I want to know. And I don't have time to go back and listen to over 200 hours of our podcast.
Also, speaking of our listeners helping us out, we are getting towards the end of the year, and at the very end of the year for our Christmas episode, we always talk and review idol songs that have Christmas themes or winter themes. If anyone has any music that we haven't covered in our last 2 Christmas episodes, please send them to us over social media or Discord. We will love to hear it. We'll give them our Jingle Bell, Sleigh Bell ratings.
How much it makes me want to dance scale is the most important.
It's very
IMHO.
important. Or the tiny hats checkbox. Tiny hats.
Tiny hats. Tiny hats. Tiny hats. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Also,
we got a website.
Our website is idoldays.card.co or idolluminati.net. Feel free to use that one. I just renewed the URL for that. Just in time for UtaPri. We also have links to our Discord on our social media and on our website. It's a great place to come talk about your favorite idol shows, talk about which idols are reincarnations of which other idols, speculate on what our next episodes will be. Some of y'all got UtaPri right. Shout out to y'all.
Hey, like you got it right as we were recording the episode. I had the Discord open and I'm like, oh, someone got it. Someone got the banana hint.
They got it. They got it. So this has been Idol Days. We've been
lady.
See you next live.
Bye. The evil has been defeated.